Testing, testing, test, test.
So nice that everybody's already quiet. I don't have to get everybody quiet. You guys have just kind of come to a lull. So we welcome you guys, and I'm going ahead and call this board meeting on Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 to order at 6:03. I should probably do my little, there you go. Okay, tonight we have the privilege of having Kenneth Ashley, a Parks 8th grader, here to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. So take it away, Kenneth.
May you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we do not have a report from closed session, so we will move right along to our recognitions. Who's starting us off tonight? All right, Dr. Brown. See some familiar faces over here in the front row.
Thank you. If I could call up Robin Munchow, where's Robin? Robin here, and Jenna Bright, the assistant principal and principal from Parks Junior High. Okay, so this fall, with the blessing of our board, we had the pleasure of opening the district's first performance academy that was sports-based, with over 60 students participating in over 5 different performance academies across our across different sports. We were able to offer a program unlike any other school district in not only just Southern California and Orange County, but in California itself. So tonight we want to recognize 6 of those students who had the opportunity to participate at a national level. We also do want to bring up their coaches, Coach JD and Coach Walt. If you can come on up from Delta. In addition to all of our students, these 6 young men had the pleasure of competing in football, which is their primary sport, as 8th graders at the national level in Florida. It's an invite-only tournament that took place in Wellington, Florida in December. They had media day, they had college visits, they had competition, and we are proud to say that with representing Parks and Fullerton and Delta in our Performance Academy, they are now the 14U national champions for their sport. So I'm going to call their names, or have Robin or call their names. And when I call your name, please come up, and we'll be recognized by our board and our families. So James Tuia. Lance Brown. Tapu Patero. Stand over. You guys stand right in front of the podium. Yeah. Adrian Patero. Kenneth Ashley. Raiden? Okay, and we're missing one, Raiden Velasquez. The kids, in addition to winning the national championship and being the best 14U football players in the country, some of them already have full ride scholarship offers to college. So this comes with the perks of their parents not having to pay for a college education. They also received a ring and a necklace. You guys want to show off what you received for your winning the national title? Okay. Oh. Good job, Kenneth, keeping yours, protected. Yeah. Woo. So congratulations on your hard work and dedication. We hope this takes you very far. And when you make it to the highest level, which is the NFL, like Coach JD, please come back and visit us and, give us some tickets or something. But yes. So we want to get a quick picture with our board and our superintendent and our principal and assistant principal as well.
Oh, I'm going in order. Sorry, Phil. I follow order. Not these. I'm like, it's these. Come on. Yeah. 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 Well, don't go anywhere. You guys get to be up here too.
All right. We go from
Mrs. Munchow, you need to come back up here, please. Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Orlinda Soltero Ruiz, and I am the Chief Academic Officer for Educational Services. And this next program that the students are going to be recognized is under Ed Services. And we had the opportunity to send some of our students to Daegu, Korea. So it is with great pride that we recognize and celebrate the outstanding achievements of our park students. That's why Ms. Munchow and Ms. Bright are up here as well. And yes, special recognition for Michelle, who participated in the Daegu Korea Student Culture Exchange Program and the Roar Festival held in November in downtown Fullerton. Our very own teacher Jenny Shim accompanied our students on their adventure. Our students showcase their incredible dedication and talent, earning certificates from South Korea's Korean Traditional Music Broadcasting Company, the Dongjo-che Preservation Association, and the Office of Senator Maria Elena Durazo. Their participation exemplifies leadership, cultural appreciation, and a commitment to global learning. So at this time, I'm going to call up the students that participated. First, we have Juna Jin. Yuna Jin. Yes, you're still. Okay. Jaya Kim. Yuna. Leah Lee. And Eunice O. If you notice, they are wearing their traditional Korean dress that they wore for their competition, and it was actually a competition that we will be seeing a bit of a showcase in a small video of their travels, but congratulations to our students, a well-deserved recognition. Thank you, thank you. Go up there, go take pictures. Are you coming to be in the photo? What? I said, are you coming to be in the photo?
관여났답니다.
캘리포니아 폴리틴 있는 파크스 중학교에서 왔습니다.
연주할 거예요. Enjoy. 감사합니다.
Before we recognize our last group, I would be remiss if I did not recognize our parks teachers that showed up tonight to support our students. So please stand. Am I missing? Miss Martinez, please stand. And Mr. Hernandez, wherever you are. Oh, thank you. Thank you for supporting our students day in and day out.
All right, moving on. Thank you. Good evening, President Berryman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Pleka, Executive Cabinet, and FSD community. We are fortunate to have a very strong and vibrant arts community in Fullerton, and we have so much support for fostering creativity and artistic expression as well, too. And so one of our most vital partners is the All the Arts Foundation, for All the Arts for All the Kids Foundation, which has been a longtime collaborator with the Fullerton School District. Lending their resources and thought partnership has been invaluable as they've helped shape many of the outstanding programs we have today. So I'd like to recognize Mrs. Kelly Whiteman, Executive Director of the All the Arts for All the Kids Foundation, for their donation of $50,000 towards our arts programs. So Ms. Whiteman, if you mind coming up, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Whiteman. I don't blame her. She did. She's recovering really, really well. And so with that, we want to recognize a number of our outstanding students in the areas of the performing arts. And so we have a number of students we're going to ask to be recognized. I want to recognize also our teachers, so Mrs. Martinez, Mr. Hernandez, and Mrs. Ace. If you wouldn't mind hanging out up here, please, as our students come up. Yeah. And so for our first category for choir, we want to recognize Miss Gia Kim. I believe Gia is not Jaya. Oh, she's here. Yay. Awesome. That's right. Thank you. Gia, 8th grade Parks choir student, has been accepted into the California Choral Directors Association's All-State Honor Choir and was also selected to sing in the SSAA soprano, second soprano, first alto, thank you, second alto choir, treble choir at Sacramento State University last month. So big props to Gia. And of course, want to recognize Mrs. Martinez for all of her efforts creating an outstanding program and wonderful musicians out of her magical choir program at Parks. So I want to thank Ms. Martinez as well. So thank you, Ms. Martinez. All right. You want to take a picture or up to you? Yeah. And students, one more big thing for all of our recognized students tonight. There are cupcakes up here too, so if you didn't get one before, one of these is yours. That's the most important thing you want to make sure to remember is grab that before you leave as well too.
We'll make sure that we have a little break after
Yes.
this so they can get their cupcake.
Thank you. Moving on for orchestra, we have a number of students as well. I'm going to ask Lucas Kim to come up, please. Lucas Kim. Lucas is an excellent 7th grade cellist from Beechwood School who was selected to the All-State Middle School Honor Orchestra. Lucas is also a very willing mentor to younger musicians in his section, so thank you, Lucas. Hope Lee. Hope, a 6th grade student at Beechwood, plays first violin in her school's advanced orchestra. There she is. And was selected, I hope, you're doing great, to the Southern California Band and Orchestra Association Elementary Honor Orchestra. Good job, Hope. I'm going to ask Ben Jun to come on up. Ben, a sixth grade violinist from Beechwood, was also selected to the SES-BOA Elementary Honor Orchestra and also plays flute for the sixth grade band as well, so multi-instrumentally talented. Hannah Kang from Beechwood, a fifth grade cellist, was also selected to the Elementary Honor Orchestra. Is Hannah here by chance? Not here tonight. Okay. Yuna Jin from Parks, eighth grade violinist. Yuna, who's also part of our Daegu student performance group. We have Yuna Jin, who was selected to the All-State and SES-BOA Middle School Honor Orchestra. Yuna is not only a talented violinist, but she's also an outstanding pianist, having accompanied her school orchestra on piano as well, too. And, I'm not done yet, was also a concertmaster at Parks, mentoring younger musicians. So great job to Yuna Jin as well. And from our band, we have Eugene Lee from Beechwood. Eugene's an excellent trumpeter from Beechwood who is the school section leader and was selected to the SES-BOA Elementary Honor Band. Preston Chun is a seventh grade clarinetist from Beechwood who was selected also to the Middle School Honor Band and is also a section leader at Beechwood as well. Haley Kim from Fissler is a seventh grade clarinetist. Is Haley here by chance? Oh, there she is. Hi, Haley. Was also chosen as an SES-BOA Middle School Honor Band and also leads a section of clarinetists at Fissler and is also a very talented K-pop musician and dancer as well, too. Elias, oh yes, please give her a hand. Thank you. Elias Yoon from Parks is a phenomenal trombonist at Parks Junior High who has elevated his trombone section and was selected to the All-State Middle School Honor Band. Yeah, students, great idea. Want to shift to the front? That'd be great. And stay there. We're going to take some great pictures afterwards as well. Teachers hang out as well. I think that was Elias, right? All right, Aiden Song. Aiden from Parks was also selected in the SES-BOA Middle School Honor Band and is a band captain as well as a section leader as well. A lot of leadership here you're seeing and talent from our students. Sua Shin from Parks. Sua is a seventh grade oboist in the Parks Advanced Band who was selected to the Middle School Honor Band and also plays in the Pacific Youth Symphony in Irvine. Is that right? And lastly, we also have Ariel Kang from Laguna Road. Ariel. Ariel is a sixth grade flautist who was just chosen to participate in the SES-BOA Elementary Honor Band and perform with the group earlier this month. And I just discovered, walking with mom and dad up to the board meeting, she's only been playing for, is it 2.5 years? Phenomenal. Give all of our students a hand. I also want to recognize Mr. Sal Hernandez from Parks, our band and orchestra teacher, as well as Mrs. Mary Louise Ace at Beechwood and Fissler, among other schools, for their outstanding leadership and guidance for our students. And of course, Mrs. Martinez as well. Yeah, of course. All right, teachers, if you wouldn't mind coming towards the middle with our students as well for a group picture.
Okay, if we can have you guys come up and get your cupcakes, and then if you want to do any more photos, you can do that as well.
Right, so that's the end of our recognitions for this evening. All students that got awards, make sure you get your cupcakes. Also, feel free, we won't be offended if you keep going out the door, we get it. Although, everyone is welcome to stay. It's gonna take a minute for this.
This part I love. Don't you love it? This is my favorite part of board meeting. Every time.
It's the fact that we have sports and music and academics.
And cultural, right?
Yes.
Going out.
Yeah.
By the way, all our students came out saying, and it wasn't by us.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
We were just saying that's our favorite, not always our favorite part of the meeting, but our favorite part of the meeting, right, is to really recognize our students for everything, cultural, sports, music. When you come to Fullerton, you have it all. And I'm just a little biased, but I think that it makes you have hope in our future when we see those children, when we see our students up here really striving to be their best and to be recognized for statewide accomplishments. So those are some great things. So on that note, we will now start with our reports, and we will start with our superintendent this evening.
There were several recognitions, so I wrote them down so that I make sure I get everybody down. So some of these were from the past, but I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge. So first of all, for California League of Middle Schools 2025 Educator of the Year for Region 11, Mr. Andy Montoya from LV. This one just hot off the presses. So our very own FSMA president, Mike McAdams, was named AXA Region 17's Classified Educational Leader of the Year. That's basically for all of Orange County. So Mike McAdams. And we do have some flowers. So Mike, here we go.
Oh. Flowers for Mike. Does he get a cupcake?
Those are really pretty flowers, too.
Mike, from me.
I think you should hold out for a cupcake.
All right. Also, just recently named, they were named most influential people for 2024 in OC's Register's 125 most influential people, Pablo Diaz and Musio Vidales.
Oh, it's here early.
And then a big shout out to actually Ocean Subaru of Fullerton and Operation Warm for allowing all of our Valencia Park students to shop for free jackets, which came in perfect timing for the rain and cold front this last week. So thanks to them. And a shout out to the principal, Melanie, thank you for making that, facilitating that, and making that happen. Thank you.
All right, great. Information from our Board of Trustees. I think today we'll start on this end. We'll do the two, and then we'll come over here and go in this way. So we'll start with Vanessa.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I see a lot of familiar faces. I actually wrote mine today because it's a lot and I don't want to miss anything. So bear with me. I'll read it really fast. Just kidding. So the last 4 weeks since our last school board meeting, approximately, don't count the days, have been incredibly busy and fulfilling. I have attended ELAC meetings, coffee with the principals, Know Your Rights workshops with our very own Bethany Anderson from Camino Immigration Services, that's here today. PTA meetings, parent-student breakfast, back-to-school nights, and walkthroughs at some of our elementary schools. It's been amazing to visit the schools in our district, getting to know our school staff, families, our students, and our community on a deeper level, and it's been truly rewarding. I've also had the joy to attend stage performances at Richmond and Commonwealth Elementary, where students put on incredible productions of Aladdin and 101 Dalmatians. Seeing our students thrive, express themselves, and showcase their extraordinary talent just filled my heart with joy. And I brought my daughters to the 101 Dalmatians, and let me tell you, my daughter's going to be performing in her school play, and she's super excited. Our students are incredible, and they deserve every opportunity to shine. I pour my heart into everything I do because I know that every effort, every meeting, and every conversation is worth it when I see the impact on our students and families. As board members, our role is clear: to be the ears and voice of our community, to listen, to advocate, and to assure that every child in our district feels seen, heard, and supported. We know that challenges continue to evolve, and families in our district face real concerns that impact their children's education and well-being. Now more than ever, we must stand firm in our commitment to creating a safe, inclusive, and supportive environment where every student can thrive academically and socially. It is essential that we foster a school environment that prioritizes equity, dignity, and security for all students and families. I want to take a moment to extend my deepest gratitude to our board, our superintendent, our sub-superintendents, administration, principals, SSAs, teachers, and our entire school community. I especially want to recognize our frontline workers in our schools, the staff members who interact daily with our students, ensuring that their needs are met and that they feel supported. Your unwavering dedication and leadership and commitment to our students does not go unnoticed. I see you, I acknowledge you, I recognize the hard work that you're putting in every day to support and uplift and empower our students, families, and communities. I know the work that you're doing is not easy. It is often challenging, and it requires patience, resilience, and an immense amount of heart. But it is essential for our families to thrive. You're doing the hard work, and I want you to know that I see it, I recognize it, and I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. I also want to thank the families who have been actively engaged in our workshops, meetings, and advocacy efforts. A lot of them are here today. Your participation and contributions have played a critical role in the success of what we have been implementing in our schools these last few weeks. Your voice matters, and your involvement is helping shape a better future for all of our students. And that is why we've been working on a resolution that is more than just words. It is a commitment to action. Our goal is clear. Every student and family deserves to feel safe, valued, and protected. We must lead with love. We must stand together. And we must never forget that our greatest responsibility is to the children and families who rely on us to listen, act, and to fight for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Just over the last several weeks, we've all taken time off or been given time off for Martin Luther King's holiday. I'm reading a biography of his right now. He wasn't just a preacher. He wasn't just talking about race. He was also a labor leader. I'm always very proud to stand with our families here that work for our district and across our community. President's Day to me is a day for remembering honor, duty, sacrifice. People work very hard to make this country run the way that we want it to and the way that we expect it to. We also have Valentine's Day this month. That reminds me of my commitments to love, not just my wife, my family, but my community. And then this weekend, I had the pleasure of attending a wedding, and that's always a recommitment for myself and my wife. And it's obviously very romantic, but it also reminded me that everybody on this dais here, as a trustee, also took an oath, and we swear to uphold the Constitution of the state of California as well as the federal government. And so I guess in my mind, these last few days and concerning some of the topics that we'll be discussing tonight, I'm thinking about honor, duty, our community, and what commitments we've all made and what commitments I've made, both to myself and to this community that raised me. And as I was thinking about the resolution that we'll be discussing tonight, I was thinking about what I remember about being a student at Orangethorpe Elementary or Nicholas Junior High, and who I went to school with, how we were treated, what was expected of us. And I did think that my teachers cared about me. I think that they wanted to protect me. and I always did feel very protected. So, everything that I'll be thinking about tonight and discussing and voting on really comes from some of these holidays that we've just all experienced together, some of these experiences that I've just experienced, but also being a student in the Fullerton School District, what that has meant to me, and how the love and care that I received, how I reflect that back. And so I remain committed to all of our families, all of our students, on all of our staff. So I just thank everybody. It was so nice to see all the students getting their awards tonight. I don't know how they do it. I think students are getting more and more talented every year. It's incredible.
Thank you. So over the past month, I've been able to finally complete my circuit of the trustee area 2. So I got to meet with all the principals there, and I'm looking forward to spending more time with the staff and the students there in the next couple months. But as much as I want to focus on the micro level, that all the wonderful things that are happening at the individual school sites, it's really hard to ignore what's happening at the macro level. And it's times like these that I think a lot about one of my favorite Bible studies that I learned at church growing up, and it's about the Good Samaritan. And we all know, or a lot of us know, the story of the Good Samaritan. We even have state laws named after the Good Samaritan Law. But I was studying and restudying some of the historical context behind that tale, especially in times like these. And if you don't know the pretext to the Good Samaritan, it's a lawyer, and I'm a recovering lawyer, so I can talk crap about it, right? The lawyer was being sneaky and trying to test Jesus and asked, how do I get into heaven? And Jesus, in a very law professorly way, which I think Aroni would be familiar with, answers his question with another question and goes, well, what does the book say? And the book says to love your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus goes, yep, nailed it. Do that, right? You got it. But the lawyer, being very lawyerly, goes, but who? Who is my neighbor, right? He wanted definitions. He wanted to narrow the scope of who he had to take care of. And that's when the now famous story of the Good Samaritan happens. And for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a man walking along a particularly dangerous road, gets mugged, beaten, robbed, left for dead. The first person to come across this body is a priest who goes, ugh, crosses the street and keeps going on his way. A second person does the same thing. And the third person now, the titular Good Samaritan, goes, whoa, picks the guy up, takes care of him, gives him first aid, runs him to the nearest inn, pays the innkeeper a few bucks and goes, hey, here's some money up front, take care of this dude. When I come back, I'll pay you back with some interest. And finally, in a very law professorly way, asks another question. Jesus asked the lawyer a question, goes, which one of these three people do you think was most neighborly to the dying man? And I love this story because of the historical context, right? It makes us think. The priest was supposed to represent someone of high social status, did not help the man. The second person was the same ethnic or racial group as the dying man, or nearly dying man, did not help him. The third person, the Good Samaritan, was actually of a completely different ethnic or racial group that was actually warring with the same group as a dying man, right? And it also inverts the question. The lawyer had asked, who is my neighbor? But instead, Jesus responds with, well, I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to uno reverse you, right? Which one of these three was the most neighborly to him? And I think we have a very clear mission here at the Fullerton School District. It gives me moral clarity. We have to provide a quality public education to every student, make sure that every student is safe, healthy, and happy. Not just the high-class students or the rich students or people occupying positions of power, not just the ones that look like you, like not just the Korean students, right? But even the students coming from families we might not like, approve of, who worship different gods. We have to do that for every single student. And I'm really sorry that the so-called adults in DC can't take the lesson of the Good Samaritan to heart. But I'm here to tell you that I'm your neighbor. We are all your neighbor, and we will fight to make sure that every child is safe, healthy, and happy, regardless of whether you're gay, regardless of whether or not you speak English, regardless if you're poor or rich or don't look like me. If you have special needs, we're here to take care of you, and I'm really grateful for the members of the board and for Dr. Bob and the staff of Fullerton School District to help us do just that. Thank you.
Y'all are gonna make me cry. I am so grateful for this board. Yeah. I wanted to start off by just acknowledging and saying welcome and happy Black History Month. Because, yeah. it is so important that we recognize and celebrate the history of African Americans and in the United States, the struggles, the joy, the lessons, the way that they've shaped and contributed to our community and made our country better. And I've been thinking a lot about this long struggle for justice and inclusion and the lessons that we can learn from both our African American ancestors as well as the leaders today. And thinking about what it means to pursue freedom and democracy and justice and equality through hard times, and to hang on to that vision and that faith and love and joy that is needed to keep sustaining us through this, to trust that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it still bends towards justice. And I'm grateful for people like you all. And I'm grateful for our staff. As Vanessa mentioned, I'm so grateful that our staff have taken this moment, this call to responsibility and care seriously. I think the last 2 months especially, I have seen our staff work so hard, creatively, lovingly, hard work to make sure that our families that are affected by immigration and all the other issues feel supported and seen and cared for and safe. And I'm so proud that despite what is intentional confusion and changes at the federal level, that we remain proactively committed to protecting our students and our families and our staff, and ensuring that they do enjoy that right to a free public quality education, no matter what. And we're committed to that. And I know that there's a lot of fear in our community right now, and concerns and uncertainty about what's going to happen next. And we are hearing from our community. I hope you all feel that we are hearing from you. You know, our attendance rates, this is just an indicator, our attendance rates usually hover about 92% of our kids come to school every day. On Day Without an Immigrant, February 3rd, it dropped to about 82%. We're paying attention. Your presence matters. Your voice matters. We see you and we hear you. And we need you. And we will continue to educate every single kid. We will continue to use the resources that we have to meet the needs that they have, to make sure that everyone is educated without discrimination. And we will advocate and use our voices and magnify your voices whenever we have opportunity, so that you know that we are going to love and care for your kids just like our own. All of your kids, all of our kids. And you know, my colleagues have mentioned, this school board meeting is supposed to be about addressing the business of the Fullerton Elementary School Board and District, our business. But it is hard to ignore when federal changes do have impact on us. And you know, threats to dismantle the Federal Department of Education, while it's an illegal move that requires the full consent and vote of Congress to make it happen, it does raise concerns for us. I think our community does know, and I hope you all know, that we would be impacted by that. We know that half of our schools receive Title I funds, and all of our kids benefit from the funds that our school district receives from that. Our children benefit from special education, both guidance as well as funding that comes from the Federal Department of Education. And many of our kids at some point may need the protection of civil rights or prevention of other forms of discrimination, whether that's based on gender, sex, race, ethnicity, religion, disability, or any other identity. So I hope, like you, I urge you, like me, that you will contact your federal and representatives, the people that have been elected to represent us at the national level, to express any concerns that you have. We will continue to do our job and our business, but we also ask for your support in this.
I'm just going to defer to the rest of, I can't compete on that one. So all of, I think what our audience is hearing is that the deep care that this board has for our community and for our students is real, and that we understand that what's happening right now is real and that we can't ignore it. And we as a collective group up here are willing to make those commitments. And so as we go through this evening, more and more will happen. But I just want to echo everything that people have said up here already. So we will move on to our DLAC. Do we have a DLAC report this evening? Yeah, great. Love it.
Good evening, President Berryman, school board members, the Executive Cabinet, Superintendent Dr. Pletka, and all families are present and listening. My name is Mayra Zamora, and I'm happy to share some updates from our District English Learner Advisory Committee. First, I want to say thank you to the Fullerton School District for supporting our families, especially in providing the latest and most information about immigration concerns. Your help in keeping our families informed and supported during these times is appreciated. We are thankful to the district for making sure our community gets the help and resources they need. I also want to invite everyone to our next DLAC meeting on February 21 at Commonwealth Elementary. We will discuss college and career readiness and teach families about the different paths students can take for a bright future. Lastly, a big thank you to the Educational Services Department for working with us and supporting all our families. Your hard work helps our students and parents every day. Thank you for your time and support. We look forward to seeing everyone at our next DLAC meeting. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all of your hard work in leading our group, so thank you very much. PTA, Joanne?
Good evening, Dr. Pletka, President Berryman, and members of the board. I am Joanne Granados Cho, and I continue to have the pleasure of serving as the president of the Fullerton Council of PTAs. Our council membership drive continues strong. As of today, we have a total of 4,387 members across all of our schools, and we keep climbing. You can still join, it's never too late. Remember that your membership and all the dollars you do donate to us, they help us make PTA a positive experience for all the kids and all our individual campuses, and it actually even all the way up to high school too. On February 24th and 25th, members of our local PTA units will be traveling up to Sacramento for our 4th District's annual Sacramento Safari event. What is Sacramento Safari? Well, this is a 2-day advocacy trip that allows us to go to the state capitol and allows our local Orange County, all of our Orange County PTA members, in a sense, to hear from key speakers on issues that affect children, youth, and families. Learn about the inner workings of the state government, advocate directly to our state legislators about issues that are important to us here in Fullerton and the OC, and network with other PTA advocates. We at Fullerton Council are sending a representative to look forward and getting a full report from Aaliyah Cass, who is from FSD. And we'll get it from upon a return. So, also, our 4th District PTA Reflection Gallery was held on February 1st. We had a couple of FSD students receive the following awards. So it's sorry if I mispronounced anybody's names. Gia Bang, Middle School, Dance Choreography Award of Excellence. Tesla Kupo, Middle School Visual Arts Honorable Mention. Clarity Young, Middle School Film Production Award of Merit. Joshua Hamlin, Middle School Photography Award of Merit. Chloe Choi, Primary, Visual Arts Honorable Mention. Celia Moon, Primary, Music Composition Award of Merit. Oliver O, Primary, Photography Honorable Mention. We are so proud of all of our students and their amazing accomplishments. The theme for next year has already been released. And guess what it is? It's I Belong. So our individual PTA units are reaching out to our high school administrators and principals and help us advertise the Reflections program so that next year we can award even more incredibly talented students. And so just a heads up that the PTA will be hosting a table at the OC Pathways Showcase on February 27th from 4 to 7 at the OC Fairgrounds in Huntington Beach building. The showcase will highlight all career technical education and CTE pathways, and our PTA table will be featuring those reflections entries from the students enrolled in CTE art photography, and digital media classes. So we got to celebrate kind of like what we've accomplished this year. So one of the things we do on Wednesday, March 26th, 4th District's the County PTA will be holding its annual Administrators Dinner at Knott's Berry Farm Hotel, right over there. All of Orange County will be coming up to us. Finally, we don't have to travel too far. Good time. The annual association meeting, election meeting, we'll have it at 5:30 p.m. The dinner program starts at 7. You guys are all invited. We'll send you invitations too as well. And just block out your calendars and you'll be there having a fun time with us all. So also with that, we also like to celebrate in our own hometown at Fullerton. On April, Fullerton Council Luncheon has just been scheduled for Tuesday, April 29th. So we'll have everybody send those informations out as well. That's actually where we just do our city and we make sure that we're here talking locally and we celebrate all the accomplishments we've done here for this year. We'll send out the formal invitations soon. And just a reminder, our principals and our individual PTA units are currently in the process of forming nomination committees. This is where we kind of hold our elections. So we find incredible nominees for our PTA executive boards for next year. All slates will be posted have to be 28 days prior to voting. Elections meetings are typically held between March and May. It's hard to believe we're already talking about next year. Our next council meeting will be at the Fullerton Joint Union High School Boardroom on Tuesday, February 20th at 9:30 a.m. Hope to see all of you there. I wish you a wonderful rest of your meeting. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. All of you join your local PTAs. You don't have to volunteer, you just have to support, right? They just need members, you just need to join. Right? CSEA?
Hello, everybody. Good evening, President Berryman, Dr. Pletka, Cabinet, and School Board. My name is Tanya Balek, and I will be speaking on behalf of CSEA tonight. Thank you, I'm a little shorter. It is my pleasure to inform you that CSEA and the district have come to a conclusion with negotiations. CSEA would like to thank their negotiation team for their time and dedication to the process. Sherry Williamson from IIS, Sandra Siebert, Office Manager at Maple, Henry Vivar, M&O, Doug Yingling, Bus Driver and Nutrition Services, and Christina Escobar from M&O as well, along with Danny McCarty, our CSEA labor rep. We are a well-represented team with a positive outlook, and we'd like to thank you again for all your hard work. A huge shout out to Terry Orr for volunteering her time to the CSEA Paint and Sip. There were mocktails and refreshments hosted by our MUP committee, which is Membership Unity Program. We are proud to have membership growing due to our commitment to visit schools and being a strong presence here at FSD. Next month, 7 IAs will be attending the 28th Annual Para-Educator Conference. There will be an array of classes offered, such as small group instruction, growth mindset, understanding a child's behavior, becoming a communication wizard, and many more. CSEA is proud to have members who seek training to help our students and build their toolbox with new ideas. In closing, I would like to give praise to all our IAs for your devotion and patience working with our students and community. In times where we may feel frustrated and overwhelmed, know that the job we do changes lives and makes it worth it. Thank you.
We really appreciate you as well in leading the group and applaud the fact that our district and our associations really do work well together. So thank you. Thank you for all of your hard work. Darlene, now you're up there. Feet up.
You gave me time to get up here. First, on behalf of FETA, I want to really thank you guys for what you're saying up at the front. Your commitment, your words for our family, for our staff is wonderful, and we really appreciate it, so thank you. I asked Anna to put a picture up on the board for us. And it doesn't just have to be an educator, it could be almost anybody that's in here. As I read through this report and the activities that have taken place this month, I'd like you to reflect on the picture on the screen. This is the time of the year when our members' plates are full. You can put a picture of a teacher, a counselor, a nurse, a PE teacher, a principal, and others holding this plate. You can also change the objects on the plate to meet FSD's needs: report cards, conferences, benchmarks, DRDPs, IEPs, roundtables, MTSS forms, lesson plans, robotics, math club, encore, stage, speech, vision screening, debates, etc. We need to be conscious of what we as a district are asking to be done on top of the necessary items. We want to do all for our students. However, when there is a lot asked, not all things can be done well. We appreciate support to help us get some things off of our plates so student safety and academic success is first in line. We would like to thank the Teachers Helping Teachers for the opportunity to attend effective intervention for challenging behaviors at Hope University. 10 FSD teachers attended, which represented about 6 schools. We had a mix of both new and seasoned teachers who took their evening to learn new strategies to support their students. This reinforces that there continues to be a need and that all teachers are committed to look for answers, even if it is from 6 to 8 p.m. on a school night. 4 members gave up their weekend to attend the CTA Issues Conference this month. Thank you, Shelley Barron, Susan Crivello, and Pam Zanell. We attended workshops on special ed and what teachers should know, along with teacher discipline and the law. CTA's Brian Eldridge presented teachers and the law at our last Rep Council meeting. We covered ed codes regarding discipline in the classroom. Again, this reinforces our commitment for safety and learning daily for all of our students. FETA awarded 10 scholarships this year. 2 teachers and 8 dependents were awarded scholarships to support them with their continued education. Thank you to Jenny Rivera and Shelley Schofield for their work on this committee. FETA, along with No Cut, set up 3 CalSTRS meetings for those who are in the middle of their career and at the end of their career. We appreciate Andrea Lopez coordinating with us and supplying materials and support from FSD to our members. We also thank Jean Summy and Commonwealth for allowing us to use their multi-purpose room for our meeting with 85 people in the audience. FETA site visits round 2 have started. Both sites and individual teachers can reach out for classroom visits that can include supporting with activities, watching performances, reading books, doing arts and crafts, or just enjoying being around our awesome students. I had the opportunity to see the Ducks presentation at Richmond today, so thank you, Dr. Rojas and Miss Tarico, who invited me there today. PE teachers are excited and wanted me to thank the district office for the $600 for elementary sites and $1,000 for junior high sites to use for needed PE equipment. FETA appreciates the district hearing the concerns and solutions and making it come to fruition to support our students across the district. Finally, the National Education Association's Read Across America is celebrated March 3rd through 7th. We look forward to seeing, hearing, and being part of the celebration. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'll echo what our board has said about understanding what our staff is going through and really truly appreciating all of our teachers. So make sure they know that. FESMA.
All right. Board President Berryman, board members, Dr. Bob Pleka, cabinet members, Mike McAdam, the Director of Purchasing Contracts, Warehouse, Reprographics, and FESMA board president. We had a great event for Every Student Succeeding, which was at Ladera Vista, highlighting and celebrating students from each of our schools that have persevered with obstacles beyond words can say in their way and continue to grow, pushing mountains out of their way, showing grit, determination, not ever to give up, but to show friends, students, staff, and community how inspiring they are. And Julie Brandon, great job on miking it, emceeing it, and putting everything together on that. So I get a round of applause for Julie Brandon. Thank you. So AXA Region 17, as Dr. Bob said, just came out with our 2025 Administrator of the Year for Orange County. I'm greatly honored to be the classified manager, sharing this honor with 16 other great leaders in the county. And then in Region 17 areas, again, which are all schools in Orange County, FSMA is a charter of Region Access 17. So if you kind of put them together, we're just a chapter of it. And really, the continued effort of FSD and brand to really showcase the amazing Fullerton School District and the county level as well as nationwide. We want to continue that in FSMA, as we're going to do that every year and really brand us in a way, our managers and what we're doing. And then FSMA has continued to be supportive and strong for our community, families, FIDA, CSBA, and most importantly, our students. So thank you.
Thank you. Being an administrator is not easy. We understand that. Okay. So moving on from our reports for this evening, we are going to move on to public comments, so I will read our information on public comments. The board meeting follows rules of decorum per Board Policy 9323. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. The total time allotted for public comment shall be 30 minutes. Public comments about an item that is on the agenda will be heard at the time the agenda item is considered by the board. Public comments about an item that is not on the posted agenda will be heard at the beginning of open session when called upon by the board present. No action or discussion may take place on an item that is not on the posted agenda except expressly authorized by law. Since the board cannot take action on the items that are not on the agenda, such items will be referred to the superintendent for handling. Board members may request that any item be placed on a future agenda for further discussion. The board president and the superintendent will determine the best time and place or to place an item on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the board are invited to complete a submit to request form and provide it to our executive assistant, Anna. And if anyone hasn't already done it that would like to do so, there are slips up at the desk over there. You can grab one and let Anna have it. Again, public comments that are not on items on the agenda will be now, pretty much. And for items that are on the agenda, which are a little later, will be at that time. We are moving around item 10E a little so that it's more towards the beginning than the end of that area. So we'll let you know when that comes. So I do have items that are not on the agenda, and I have items that are on the agenda. So I will read the names, and I apologize if I don't pronounce something right. You guys may go up to the podium and have your 3 minutes, and then we'll go on to the next one and the next one. Okay? All right. So on that note, we will go ahead and start. We do have public comments this evening. And so we'll go ahead and we'll start with Cheryl Sitier. Cheryl? Sider. Oh, that's a hard one, I guess. Cheryl Sider, thank you.
Oh boy, I didn't know I was going to be going first. Okay. Good evening. My name is Cheryl Sider. I'm a parent to Nolan Sider, a 6th grader whose primary placement is mild to moderate SDC, but mainstreams at Rolling Hills. You may have got the opportunity to learn more about Nolan's progress when he received the Every Student Succeeding Award a couple of weeks ago during the awards ceremony at Ladera Vista. Nolan was so proud to receive his award that he wanted to wear a tie and also be picked up in the middle of 6th grade science camp in the mountains to attend the ceremony, which I did the round trip, yeah. Oh. But it was one of the first times that I'd seen him express pride and allow himself to acknowledge his work. We even worked on handshakes, which he did handshakes with you, and that was a big deal for him because it's a social skill. And if anybody's seen the Inside Out movies, we're getting some new emotions at the console, and that was one of them. Nolan's journey with Fullerton School District began in the SDC pre-K classroom at Maple with the amazing Mrs. Marmolejo, who did what we thought was the unimaginable with Nolan in her classroom. Nolan then moved to our home school, Rolling Hills, of which he started as a kinder in SDC, and he's currently in 6th grade. Under the incredible leadership of Rolling Hills principal, Mrs. McNutt, and assistant principal, Mrs. Soak, Nolan is currently thriving more than ever before. However, this place of positivity we currently are in was not always the case. Nolan has had behavioral peaks and valleys, much of which challenging behaviors presented themselves usually during times of staff instability. Without consistency and a strong staff to student ratio, I would be concerned that Nolan would backslide on progress made. Having an extra set of eyes in the classroom, as well as during recess, to redirect, monitor, and encourage is essential for a student like Nolan. It has made a clear difference in his path to success. Special education services are so important to Nolan's academic and social growth and to our family's stability and happiness. Being a parent of a special needs child can lend itself to some rough days, and knowing that we have the support of the Rolling Hills staff with valuable programs available to Nolan offers peace of mind. I have such gratitude that the district currently has no plans to reduce special education funding and encourage that plan, including the staff who provide direct support to SDC students, as Nolan is a testament to how these trusted adults mattered to his academic and social growth. Thank you for your time and allowing me to participate in tonight's board meeting.
Thank you very much. Miley Darcy? Did I pronounce that right, Miley? It's Miley. Miley. I thought it was Miley, and I said, oh, it's got to be Miley.
My parents did not spell it phonetically, so sorry for that. I blame it on my mom for sure. I'm super short, I'm sorry.
Good things come in small packages.
Okay. Hi, my name is Miley Darcy. I have 2 children. Patrick is 9 in 3rd grade co-teach program at Hermosa Drive. Patrick has autism. Caroline is 7 in 1st grade at Golden Hill. She is neurotypical. I have the unique experience of having a neurodivergent child and a neurotypical child. Being a room parent in both their classrooms gives me the unique experience and privilege of helping in their classrooms. I want to share with you the differences I've witnessed. I am deeply invested in Patrick's IEP team. I have formed relationships with Dr. Llewellyn and all the educators and specialists that support Patrick. Hermosa is such a beautiful, inclusive community. Co-teach at Hermosa is what I believe every school should look like. The neurotypical students don't see Patrick as different because he's integrated within general education students. If Patrick is having a bad day, he is not ostracized by his peers. It's quite the opposite. They are empathetic towards him and help him. To his peers, Patrick is just like them, with a few different quirks. Patrick's integration into general education doesn't hinder his neurotypical peers. Quite the opposite. Parents find their children to be more empathetic and kind because of the integration. In contrast, I get to help in my daughter's classroom at Golden Hill. Her teacher is amazing. She has 32 students and shares an aide with 5 other classrooms. I've seen children struggle and the teacher having to focus on one child, meaning 31 other students have to work on their own at times. Last week, a child was very escalated and the school psychologist was called into the classroom. The student was removed and within 5 minutes returned to the classroom, still highly escalated, crying and screaming. I leaned into her as a parent volunteer and helped this child with her work. I told her she was smart and brave, and even though the work was hard, I knew she could do it. She cried through the assignment, but she completed it and understood it, and she was able to access her education. She just needed to be seen, and she needed the little extra support I was able to give her. Imagine the different trajectory if that teacher had a class aide who could have proactively identified her struggle and helped co-regulate her before she escalated. As I walked out of the classroom, I walked home crying because I imagined Patrick as that little girl. If Patrick didn't get the support he needs, he would be causing behaviors in the classroom and taking away from the other students. As a parent, I never want my child to take away from other students. I just want him to be given the tools to have an even playing field. Inclusion programs provide that. In closing, I invite the superintendent and the board to spend a day with Patrick. Get on the bus with him. Go to class with him. Am I up? Sorry.
Just keep going. You're almost done.
You will be amazed at the community they've created. The district has assured us there's plenty of money and plans to expand special education department. I hope to see co-teach classrooms on every single campus in Fullerton. If we invest in our children early and expose neurotypical children to children with special needs, we are creating a better future for all our students. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing how special education expands.
Thank you. Karen Yingling.
Thank you. I am Karen Yingling. I am a parent. I am an educational and disability rights advocate. And as you heard earlier, I'm a wife of a district employee. So my family's pretty invested. Tonight, however, I am here as a representative of Fullerton School District CAC. And I am representing the voice of special education parents. Many of them are here, so raise your hand if you have a student, because I think it's really important to see that we're here. And just, I'm gonna go over, cause I didn't get, like we don't have, with the DLAC and everybody else, we don't get a vote, so I'm gonna take an extra minute if that's okay with you guys. First, I wanna thank the board for their comments earlier. There's been a lot of focus in our community about our immigrant families, but what's happening right now in Washington is terrifying for those of us who have children in special education. We are horribly frightened at watching the things that we have fought for our children for so long get rolled back. Our kids aren't cheap. They're expensive. Their services are expensive. And when it comes time, if things proceed on the trajectory, the way they are, hard decisions are gonna have to be made. And we want a seat at the table, and that's why we're here tonight. When it came public that some parents were coming to speak, I got more than a few phone calls about what we wanted. What was our agenda? We're not cutting services. What's the matter? And I'm hoping we can answer that. What we want is a seat at the table. We want to be included. We want our voices heard as you all make decisions and as the administration makes decisions about where our kids go. Much of what you all hear about special education is in closed session, filtered through the lens of failed IEP collaborations and through the lens of attorneys, and there is so much more to that. I want to start really quickly by reading the primary tenet of IDEA, which is what our California Educational Code is based on. And it says, to the maximum extent possible, children with disabilities are to be educated with children who are non-disabled. And special classes, separate schooling, and other removal of children with disabilities from the regular education environment occurs only if the nature and severity of the disability is such that education in regular classes with the use of supplementary aids and services cannot be achieved satisfactorily. Did you know that there is absolutely no scientific evidence-based research that supports a special day class? Not one. It doesn't exist. There is overwhelming research that when inclusion is done correctly, all students benefit in their education. Yet we're not trending in that direction in this district. We're reducing our inclusion classes, and we are opening more special day classes. Changing this narrative means understanding, as Maylee said, how at Hermosa Elementary there is no line between the autistic children and the neurotypical children. They are educated together. They are well supported, and it's to the benefit of all those children. But it also means that we have to dig deeper into the reasons behind why we are seeing the turnover in special education that we are, why we are having trouble retaining teachers and aides and school psychologists. And yes, it's a systemic problem in our county, in our state, and nationally, but dig deeper, because it's not the reason on the little form. It's not what we think it is, and we need to be asking the hard questions. Changing the narrative means considering the over-identification of Latino students for special education may not be a failure of our assessment process or our systemic breakdown, but rather a failure to adequately in our classrooms support our youngest learners. Adult presence in a classroom matters. Co-regulation matters. Neuroscience tells us a 6-year-old cannot regulate themselves. So when they are having an emotional problem, what they need is adult support. They don't need to be pulled out. It's considering that that inadequate aid support in classrooms impacts everybody. It impacts our general education teachers. We have asked them to do too much, and we need to help them. It impacts our ed specialists, but mostly it impacts our students because they're not getting what they need. So that's why we're here tonight. We're here to make sure that special education in this district remains inclusion-focused, student-centered, and collaborative with parents. We want our seat at our table, and we want it in a meaningful manner.
Thank you, Karen. Rob Tonsik? I should have put on my glasses. I didn't do that without my glasses.
I'll make up for this with brevity. First, thank you. This is my first time speaking at one of these things, so I'm a little nervous. I'm Maylee's neighbor. My daughter also attends Golden Hill, and we moved here during the pandemic. And just to touch upon the point about inclusion that I heard from the board here, you know, growing up, or having my daughter grow up alongside of Patrick, you know, pandemic, we sheltered together. So they were both really small, I think 4, something like that. And, you know, the first time she saw him have an episode, tantrum, you know, for lack of a better word, you know, it scared her at first, but she was able to, you know, we talked to her, she's able to understand what's going on. That was sort of it. And, you know, we do a lot of activities together. And, you know, when I heard about, or obviously we read about all the turbulence that's going on in the federal level, the concerns that how that will impact the special ed programs and other programs, you know, I felt compelled to come here and at least make my voice heard and support these kind people, their children, let you know that, you know, it does seem like, you know, integration would be a really good thing for them. I can speak personally that my daughter and Patrick get along great, and he's just the neighborhood kid, and he's, you know, he comes over, he plays, they play together. It's wonderful. She doesn't know anything about it. She just knows that sometimes he has a hard time, and it's okay. I'll end on this. Thank you all. The message that we received Friday night was certainly encouraging. You know, please don't lose that fire in your bellies that you have right now in this moment, because we're really going to need you. So thanks so much.
Christina Casimir.
Hi, thank you everybody. To start, I just want to really express my deep appreciation to this group for your leadership and support. Everything going on at the federal level is terrifying as a parent of a child with special needs. So I really, really appreciate that the school board is behind our students. I also would like to express my appreciation for the email about the budget on Friday. That was also very much appreciated. So I'm Christina Casimir. I have 2 boys that have been in FSD schools since kindergarten. They both went to Hermosa Drive. My youngest is still there in 3rd grade in the GATE program. My oldest is over at Ladera Vista now. They are both incredibly sweet, bright boys. Sorry. And they both have autism and ADHD, which we did not discover until about 3rd grade for both of them, and it's been very difficult. The educators they have worked with have been amazing. They both received special speech therapy with Miss Roble at Hermosa Drive. She is phenomenal. My oldest graduated from speech therapy. Connor still sees her once a week. They're bright kids. They need the support. And I love that they have it in Hermosa. Special education is critical to my kids' success and to that of other students. And as you all expressed, it is imperative that we make sure that our students support all children, including those who need extra help. My boys are fortunate that I am able to speak up on their behalf and have always pushed to get them the support they need at home and at school. My job would have been much harder without the support and partnership that I've received from their schools. Not all children have parents who are willing or able to speak out on their behalf, but we should work together as a community to ensure that all students receive the assistance and accommodations that they all need to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Joy Deep. I'm not gonna try the last name. But you can, you can do it for us.
Third grade spelling bee at Laguna Road. Hi,
that out,
everybody. My name is Joydeep Bhattacharya. I'm a student and citizen of Fullerton. Grew up in the school district, went to Fern Drive, Laguna Road, Parks Junior High, and Sunny Hills. I have two boys here in the Fullerton School District, one in high school now at Fullerton High School, and I have a sixth grader at Rolling Hills. And thank you, Karen, for getting the message out today. I'm here alongside our other parents of our special needs community to give the other side of things. And thank you, Cheryl, for starting out in terms of some of the highlights. But I just want you to listen through this experience of a current sixth grader. Imagine your child, but now you know it's mine with special needs. We had a great start at kindergarten at Maple Drive. First grade, your teacher gets pregnant. Second grade, your teacher gets pregnant.
It's in the water.
Third grade, you get a brand new teacher for your special needs class. Fourth grade, same brand new teacher, didn't learn anything from the year before. Fifth grade, your student's in a 3-level fifth grade class where he is the fifth grader and bored out of his mind, so you can imagine the regression that happened last year. Only to be here in sixth grade where the night before school starts, your sixth grade special ed teacher that everybody for 5 years harped about said, wait till you get him. He quit. That has been my last 6 years of a special needs child. Everybody tells me how they need nothing but consistency. I drank the Kool-Aid because I went to school here and I thought, I'm in Fullerton. He's gonna get the best that there is to offer. It has been anything but. Just like our children, everybody's cases is unique and different. Like Karen said, we need oversight at the district level. Why doesn't anybody that has all the information, as every parent can attest, you need a second job to answer every email from the school district. Yet nobody can understand these kids that are now in sixth grade, this was their flight path, and we didn't step in to do anything. That amongst COVID, that amongst when this school district lost funding and all those severe children had to join the mild and moderate, and then you as parents had to deal with new behaviors. Currently, as a parent in the special needs community, all we have is each other. That's where we get our information. That's where we get our support. It's not at the school level. As you and I all know, I gotta find out the hard way where my resources are. I gotta wait for my kid to do something and then find out what's going on. I just had my sixth grader suspended right before the Christmas break, and I wasn't given any type of ATS or any other opportunities. And parents like myself are left to think, do I need to hire an advocate or do I need to hire legal to further progress what not only my child needs, but this community needs? I'll leave on this note. Enrollment for special needs is only going up. Let's recognize it. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. I believe that's all the public comments on this one topic. I think that as a board, again, it's not on our agenda, so we can't talk back, but we would ask that our superintendent take these, and if any board members would like to talk with them, talk with our superintendent individually later, we can. So thank you. It takes a lot of courage to come up here and talk and understand that we get it, and we're with you and we hear you. So thank you. All right. Our next non-agenda item is Jeremy Rose.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jeremy Rose, and I'm the owner of End Zone Sports. We're excited to be here in the community. We offer enrichment sports programs, and for kids at preschools to elementary schools. And I just wanted to share today that we're really excited for the opportunity, the possibility of joining the Fullerton family. It's personally exciting for me to go full circle, especially hearing the moms and dads tonight as a graduate of Hermosa Elementary School myself, because my special needs teacher, Mrs. Sims, as a man with epilepsy, who's seizure-free for over 35 years now, they said would never pass 6th grade. Moms, dads, I want you to know you'll beat this battle. We'll get through it together. I now, as a father, have 2 kids with hearing loss. So I am there with you with speech therapy, OT, and everything else. So hang in there. We work together as a team, and I wasn't planning on talking about that tonight, but all of you men and women really inspire me too as a dad of 2 kids with hearing aids. So we're excited to join the family, and I look forward to possibly coming full circle and back to Hermosa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. That would be the end of our public comments for items that are not on the agenda. So it is 7:29. Do my fellow take a 5-minute break for personal necessities, and then we'll move on? Okay? Wait, hold on, we still have one. Oh, there he is, we're good. Wow, wait, hold on. Dr. Brown, we've got to approve our minute, we have two little things to do, but just hang out there.
I got you.
All right, okay. So we are at our agenda item to approve our minutes from the January 14th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I read the minutes and I motion to approve them.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 14th meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Agenda approval. One thing that I would like to do is propose that we move in our section 10, item A, move to E. So taking the first item that we were going to do, the California School Board Association Delegate Assembly, move that to the last item, E, and then make the B now become A. We have people in the audience for that. And then the next B would be E, move E to B. So we would do the issuance of the general obligation bonds as A, and then we would do our resolution as B, and then continue with C, D, and A then becomes E. Is that okay?
I'll second it.
Okay. I know you guys. I'm just moving things around to take advantage of people being here, so. Okay, so with those changes, do I have an approval to move as I stated?
Yes, a motion to approve the agenda as amended by Trustee Berryman.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved. Everyone gets it? We're good?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, now Dr. Brown.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone, again. Tonight, we are going to present to you our LCAP plan, which stands for Local Control and Accountability. We, with the help of an amazing team that is leading this, we have Sung Chi, Esther Kim, and Damian Ibarra. We have, on our committee, we have parents, community members, teachers, and district staff that have led this work. We present to you our mid-year report, which is mandated by the state that we provide you with an update prior to voting on our final approval plan in June. So without further ado, I will bring up Sung Chi.
And I just want to add in terms of format for the rest of the year. So this is the mid-year. We will come back to you with the actual plan. This isn't the plan. This is really it's a progress report of what we've done so far. We will come back to you as a board to present that plan, to get input from you, and then after that meeting, we'll have a final report like we've done. That's usually at the very end. That's in June, but just want you to know you all have another bite of the apple here. This is just a check-in.
So tonight's presentation will include a brief overview of the LCAP process, a mid-year update on the metrics used in the LCAP, a summary of the LCAP Advisory Committee's activities, as well as a budget update. So the LCAP, if we can move on to the next slide. There we go, thank you. The LCAP includes the goals of the district and the actions taken to achieve those goals, as well as the metrics that we use to identify and evaluate the actions and services and whether we're meeting those goals or not. So here are the 4 goals, LCAP goals. So as a reminder, the LCAP is a 3-year plan. We're currently in year 1 of the plan and are also planning and developing year 2, making adjustments as needed based on the input that we receive from the LCAP survey, our LCAP Advisory Committee, as well as our state metrics. And the slide here, this is a summary of our mid-year results. Our most current iReady scores show we are achieving at a slightly higher rate compared to last year's students in ELA as well as math. As of January, our suspension and chronic absenteeism rates have increased slightly compared to January of last year, up 0.1% from January in suspension rate, up 0.8% in chronic absenteeism. Also, as of January, we've reclassified 252 English learners, which is roughly about the same as what we saw last year in January. We do have one more round of reclassification that we'll be doing, and so we'll see those numbers increase by the end of the year. And now I'll hand it over to Esther Kim, Program Coordinator of Ed Services, who will share about the work centered around the community engagement and input, as well as a summary of the LCAP survey results.
As Sung mentioned, the LCAP is a 3-year plan, but we can make adjustments to our actions during those 3 years based on our community's goals and needs. There are 4 main ways that we gather the community's feedback. First, we hold LCAP advisory committee meetings consisting of parents, staff, and community partners 4 times a year. We have held 3 already this year, and we have one final one in April. Second, we interact with the superintendent's student advisory group made up of junior high students, representatives from each of our junior high sites, including our 2 PK8s. Next slide. Oh. Third, we collect response cards at the Champions for Children block party. And finally, we administer the LCAP survey to parents, students, staff, and community members. The LCAP contains metrics that measure our progress through our goals. Sung shared some of the metrics, and I will share some of the survey metrics. Our surveys are administered on a scale between 1 and 4, with 4 being all of the time and 1 being never. Survey participants are asked to rate various statements. Our 3-year target in the LCAP is to maintain a rating of 3 or higher, or to increase to 3 or higher for any metrics that scored below 3 in the first year of the LCAP cycle. This slide shows how parents rated different metrics such as partnerships, rigor, connectedness, and safety. All metrics were rated above a 3, which is in line with our 3-year outcome target. Next slide. This slide shows how students rated different metrics such as rigor, connectedness, and safety. 2 of the metrics are at a 3.0 and 1 is slightly below, but higher than how our students rated connectedness last year. We are on track to meeting our 3-year outcome target of reaching or exceeding a 3. And finally, this slide shows how staff rated different metrics such as SEL, instructional strategies, safety, and school climate. For the purposes of these metrics, this category includes all staff who work directly with our students, and all metrics were rated above a 3, which is in line with our 3-year outcome target. And Damien will talk about the budget.
So the way that we're funded for the LCAP is through the local control funding formula. And if you're looking at the pyramid, we're funded 3 different ways. So the first part of it, the base, is based on our ADA, which is the average daily attendance. So it's not on enrollment, it's on students actually attending school. And also based on grade span. So the higher the grade, the more money we receive. And then the other part, the middle part, is the supplemental part, and that's for English learners, foster homeless youth, and low-income students. So we receive 20% of the adjusted base grant multiplied times our unduplicated pupil count, which is the students listed. So that number is at 61.35 this year. And the top part, it's funding that we receive, which is concentration. It's based on our ADA, UPP, which is the amount that it's over 55%. And that is multiplied times 65% of the base grant. So this is how we're funded. And aside from that, we do receive a little bit of add-on for our TK student and transportation. And this is a quick summary of revenue. And it's a comparison between the budgeted and first interim. So our first interim report occurred as of October 31st, 2024. And right now, we're working on a second interim update that we're going to bring to you in the next board meeting. So as we can see, there's an increase in LCFF supplemental and concentration, and that's due to an increase in our UPP students. So we forecasted to achieve a 61%, and we were actually 1.35% higher than that. So that gave us an additional $127,000, which is the increase in LCFF funds for the year. There's also an increase in state funding, and that has to do with multi-year entitlements and grants that we receive, so they carry over from year to year. Local funds increased by about $1 million, and that has to do also with carryovers, but also additional donations that we received from St. Jude, $250,000. We increased interest revenue at first interim by $200,000, and the rest is just donation carryovers and donations for the current year. And the federal increase is pretty much just carryover for Title I, II, III, and IV. Next slide, please. So this portion is the comparison of expenditures between budgeted and first interim. So there's actually a decrease of expenditures of $500,000, and that's really a net savings. That's a combination of increases and decreases of expenditures. So we found a net savings of $500,000 at first interim. Budgeted restricted increased by $15 million, and that is a large amount, and that has to do with carryovers of grants and entitlements from the prior year. So we have money from the community school, the LREBG, or our Learning Recovery Grant, ELOP, and other multi-year grants and grants that carry over that we carry over from year to year. So that's the increase of $15 million. So total budgeted expenditures increased by that $50 million, which is the net of both. So on our last slide, the next slide, we're able to see that we've increased LCAP expenditures by $13 million. So what we did is, of that $50 million that we saw an increase in restricted resources, we identified which ones fit into the LCAP, and we allocated those to the different goals and different action plans. The $17 million increase has to do with our contributing actions, which are expenditures for our high-need students. So we were able to identify additional expenditures while we were working on first interim. And right now that we're working on second interim, we were able to capture that increase. So overall, the expenditures that are not in the LCAP, it's about $28 million that are not in the LCAP, but we're talking about a budget of about $200 million. So most of the money that's in the budget has been identified for the LCAP.
The LCAP team's next steps are to continue to engage with the staff and community in taking all the feedback we received to come up with recommendations for adjusting the 3-year LCAP as needed and completing all the year 2 requirements. The draft recommendations will be shared with the LCAP Advisory Committee in April for final feedback. Then a copy of the full draft of the second year LCAP will be shared with the Board of Trustees in May. In the first board meeting in June, we will hold an LCAP public hearing, and then the LCAP will be taken to the Board of Trustees for approval at the second board meeting in June. Thank you.
So with that, we'll take any questions if the board has any questions.
Questions from our board? All right, seeing none, we really truly appreciate you bringing us up to speed on this.
Thank you.
They're like, phew. Got out of there. No questions. Don't get used to that.
Are you sad that you didn't get any questions?
No, but Dr. Ron was timing me something. Did well.
He was timing you, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, we're moving on to our consent agenda. Any items that anyone would like to pull, or would we like to just comment on?
Well, I just wanted to clarify, my fellow board members were made aware that one of the consent items that we're approving is a contract for community immigration. The director, executive director, Bethany Anderson, is a close personal friend of mine. She's a Raymond mom and Vanessa's friend as well. But someone that I have looked to for years for advice, input, knowledge about immigration. So when this became an issue that we knew we needed to address as a community, I said, who are the trusted people in my community that I know and trust, and brought, you know, these services to Dr. Bob. And so that has led to her volunteering her time and the organization volunteering their time for a lot of really important input to our community over the last few months. And so this contract is really recognizing the many hours that she's already put in free of charge to our community because of her deep care and service to our community. But just wanted to make that clear that, you know, we are voting for someone that I have a personal connection with because of the good work that she's done for many years for our community already.
Because she's a rock star.
Yeah, and just to jump in
I
there.
have to second all that.
Our staff is recommending the contract with Bethany, and I had a chance to not only hear her at our previous event and share a plethora of knowledge and information that was very well received, but after that had another chance to meet with her and really talk about some of the good work that we can do with her. So it is staff's recommendation on this contract.
Okay, thank you, Ruthie. Thank you. Anyone else have anything? I think we are on our agenda is our renewed agreement with Advantage Communication for our summer speech and debate program, which if you've had the chance to speak to any of our speech and debate students, or if you have any students that are in that program, it's phenomenal. And I'm so happy to be able to support that again. Our Golden State Pathways program.
I think, aren't they four-year winners?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think, yeah.
Did we say that out loud?
National champions. All right.
More accolades. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add to? No? All right. So do I have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved. A second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay. All right, now we are going to go to item B, which is now A. So our resolution authorizing the issuance of the general obligation bonds. So Dr. Copeland?
Yes, I'm going to, is this on here? I'm going to introduce some.
Got your team, okay.
Is my team here. So before you is a resolution which authorizes the issuance of $49 million in general obligation bonds.
Only $49 million.
And here tonight is Jim Kim from Piper Sandler Company, along with Carlos Villafuerte, who's from our bond counsel, to explain the process involved in selling our first series of bonds. So I'm going to turn this over now to Jen Kim.
Thank you, Dr. Coughlin. Good evening, President Berryman, trustee members, and Dr. Pleka. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting us to be a part of your meeting tonight. So in an effort to provide transparency and to keep the community informed about all of the activities that the district is undertaking under Measure N, we are here this evening to ask of you to approve a set of documents related to our upcoming bond sale. And in a minute, I'll turn the mic over to Mr. Villafuerte, who may go into a little bit in-depth detail about what each document does. But I thought I might just share with you a brief overview about the bond issuance process. So a bond issuance process can be divided into three parts. The first part is the drafting of the bond documents and asking the board for its approval. The second part is what we call the credit rating process. That's a process which we will work with Dr. Pleka and Dr. Coughlin's office to come up with a narrative and a message and draft a presentation to share with the credit rating analysts. Because if you remember, whenever you issue a bond, it's very similar to getting a loan, a personal loan. And every time you get a personal loan, the bank may check your credit score. Similar to that, every time a school district issues a bond, the investors would like to know what the credit ratings might be on our bond. So we'll go through that process as a second part. And then the third part is the actual sale of the bonds themselves. And one of the materials we will be using is the document which Carlos prepared for your approval today. So why don't I turn it over to Carlos to give us a little overview about what each of the documents are.
Good evening, everyone. So very quickly on the resolution. This is designed to be the one singular governmental action that you're going to take in connection with the bond sale. After we close the bond issue, you will get a report that summarizes what the total cost to the community is after we sell the bonds. But this is our one bite at the apple to get you to approve the bond sale. So the resolution does a couple of things. It sets the basic parameters for the issuance of the bonds. So how many bonds we're selling, 49 million. What method of sale are we going to use, which is going to be a competitive sale. It also has all of the mechanics for levying the property taxes that pay the bonds and what are the rights of the investors that buy the bonds and the ongoing obligations of the district once the bonds are issued. And then the resolution also approves some legal documents that we prepared. There's a big one called a preliminary official statement, which is the marketing document for the bonds. And then the resolution also has attached to it the forms of notices of sale that we will disseminate to qualifying investment banks who will buy your bonds. And so the resolution authorizes district staff to take any additional measures that are necessary. That includes all of the credit rating process that Jen is talking about. Yeah, so that's basically what it's designed to do. And we're hoping that the board will approve it.
Just thanks to the community for passing the bond, and we're going to begin work on these projects. The goal is within the first 2 years to have something done at every single site. And already leading the way here, we have the gym and performing arts centers that will be both at Nicholas and Parks. And if you haven't seen it, right now there's a giant hole. But it does show some massive progress. If you are interested, check out Parks. The hole is now filled with water, but soon there will be a gym there.
And some ducks.
And some ducks, yes.
Right?
To
Questions from our...
Yes, sorry. Who can we expect to be purchasing our bonds? Institutional investors, banks? I mean, these are considered steady investments. And they're not volatile like the stock market. They offer good rates of returns.
That's right. That's absolutely right. These are considered relatively safe type of investments from an investor's perspective. Going back to your question about what type of investors, these bonds will be marketed to all of the nationally known investment firms, such as the Fidelities of the world, such as Bank of America, maybe Wells Fargo. And then you'll see some regional specialty houses. One of the regional firms that are local to us in Orange County is PIMCO. You may have heard of them. They're active participants in bonds like this. You may have also heard funds like Franklin Templeton. They're based in Northern California. They're also active participants. And then you might see some specialty firms like boutique firms out of Chicago and New York. But these bonds we marketed nationwide from all firms from New York all the way to California.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll move the item.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 24/25-13, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Fullerton School District authorizing the issuance of Fullerton School District election of the 2024 General Obligation Bonds Series A and actions related thereto. Right, so it's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Go sell go get that work done.
Thank you, and congratulations again.
Ching ching. Okay. All right, now we have moved E to B. And we have, okay, so we have public comments on this one. Would you like to make your, no, let's do our public comments first, and then we will move on to opening it up to Dr. Hammett. All right, we're going to start with Laura Cook.
Hi, it's my first time at a school board meeting, so here we go.
Welcome.
I'm real quick about me, I'm a mother of two, an active PTA member. I'm a small business owner here in Fullerton, and my husband has taught at Fullerton College since 2014. I love the city and I love the school district, and we moved here specifically for this school district. We're really passionate about it. I wanted to speak on the Safe Schools resolution because it's something that's extremely important to me and to my kids, our family values, and our community. I know that immigration is a hot topic right now and a big part of this resolution, and I fully support that. I just wanted to invite everyone to remember that this resolution is about children and minors, and this is what comes to mind for me when I think about this Safe School resolution, that children do not choose what family, city, or country they are born into. None of us have that choice when we're born. We don't choose our genetics that affect our gender, our sexuality, our racial identity or perceived race, our physical or mental abilities, our able-bodiedness. We don't get to choose any of that. But we as a society get to choose to educate all of those kids equally in an equitable and safe space. And I do personally feel that that is our responsibility as grown-ups. We got to get our education. Now we're grown-ups. We get to educate every single student in our community. And when they're grown-ups, they can make their own choices. But anyway, I think personally that because children have no choice, it's our job to educate them fairly and equally and in a safe space. So I fully support the resolution, and I also would love to see a little more language about the other communities that may be affected down the line. Personally, if you took every queer person out of my life, every immigrant out of my life, every neurodivergent person out of my life, I would have very few friends. And tias and tios for my kids and aunties, I would have very few people left in my circle. Those people are extremely important to me. They're in my family, they're in my street. So please expand the language if you can, but either way I support what you're doing and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm so glad that I live here. Thank you.
Allison Dover.
Hi, it's great to see all of you. My name is Allison Dover, and I have a 6th grader at Beechwood and a 9th grader at Fullerton Union High School. And as a parent, educator, and community member, I am overwhelmed by the intensity of our current political and educational moment. It has been brutal, and I can't overstate how appreciative I am for your board's resolution that reaffirms your commitment to ensuring our students and families feel welcome, safe, and affirmed in the district. As the speaker said earlier tonight, we need you so much, and those opening comments that you all made brought me to tears. In recent weeks, I've seen firsthand the very real threat that anti-immigrant and anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and policy poses to Fullerton families and communities. 2 weeks ago, I met with another Fullerton mom to talk about safety planning and how my family can be a resource to be targeted by immigration raids. Then last week, my own 6th grader told me it was a scary time to be different, especially at school. In her words, right now, it's best to just be quiet about who you are so no one finds out if you're different. The brutal reality is that fear has become a daily experience for many students, and especially for our immigrant and LGBTQ+ kids and families. And that fear is making it hard to learn, to thrive, and some days even to breathe. We know this will only intensify in the days to come, and I'm speaking up now to thank you so much for your leadership and to urge you to continue advocating for our children and families, and especially those children, teachers, and families who are being targeted so viciously by the presidential administration. As you finalize the wording of your SAFE resolutions this evening, I encourage you to ground it in the California ed policies that protect marginalized students, and especially LGBTQ+ students, including AB 1955, the Safety Act, the Student Safety and Violence Prevention Act of 2000, and California Ed Codes 200 and 220. With this in mind, adding language like California law requires schools to provide an environment that is safe and supportive of LGBTQ+ students and educators. This includes preventing harassment on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity, and ensuring that students have access to activities and facilities that are consistent with their gender identities. We have the opportunity to explicitly state that in accordance with California state law and Ed Code, Our district will not disclose or compel any employee or contractor to disclose information about student or staff immigration status, gender identity, or sexual orientation to any outside or federal entity without the student or staff member's consent, or to add such information to any type of federal or private list or registry, unless that we are required to do so by law. And finally, we have the chance to explicitly state that we will continue to provide training to staff and teachers regarding the prevention of discrimination and the importance of ensuring student and staff safety and privacy, especially regarding their immigration status, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Overall, the more we do now to explicitly affirm our district's diverse student and families, the stronger our foundation will be when those students and families are the targets of political threats in the days to come. Thank you again so much for your leadership on these issues and your commitment to ensuring our schools are safe and welcoming for my children and all of our children. Thank you.
Wendy Kubiak. Yep.
Hello, everybody. I'm just another Fullerton mom. Super nervous. It's my first time addressing the board or coming to a board meeting, but you know, it's a very scary time.
Thank you for coming.
So
Thank you for speaking.
thank you for being so welcoming. I really appreciate it. I'm the mother of 2 children at Raymond Elementary, and I'm just here to voice my support again for the Safe Haven Amendment that the board is voting on today. We have a great opportunity here to provide some protection to our most vulnerable community members who deserve safety, peace of mind, and the freedom to pursue their education in a secure and nurturing environment. So just to echo what everybody is saying so far, and you know, your comments in the beginning were really compelling and really appreciated. I am a public educator myself in a neighboring district with a large migrant community, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you that students are already feeling terrified for their undocumented family members or themselves. My colleagues and I agree that the fear is really palpable. It's creating a distraction in the classroom, and it's interfering with kids' ability to learn. My own children have heard about these threats. They're worried about their friends. It's such a heartbreak to explain, you know, that powerful people in charge might want their friends to go away on a very, you know, simple, basic level. It's just very sad and heartbreaking. I can't believe that I'm having these conversations with my kids. And I'm just so relieved that the board sees this and understands that all children are deserving of a safe and nurturing environment, regardless of their citizenship status. Thank you for making this clear with this amendment. We really appreciate you. And also just to echo the words of the other parents, the special needs advocates and people who've mentioned the, you know, vulnerable LGBTQ communities who are being further marginalized. I'm sure we'd love to see more language and actions protecting those groups. Schools are supposed to be the great equalizer. I love the community at my school, and I feel like, you know, the sentiment is very strong that we need peace for our kids, we need safety, and you know, for the students and their families. So I hope we can find more ways to support them as these challenging times continue. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. See, that wasn't that bad, right? Jody Vallejo.
Take out my gum.
I was gonna
Don't
say.
start yet, Dr. Hammond.
Just don't put it under the podium.
I won't. I only did that when I was in elementary school. So, good evening to our amazing board and staff. I'm Jody Vallejo. I'm a professor at USC, and I'm also an expert on immigration and a proud FSD parent. And I just wanted to speak to you for a minute and update you since I last spoke at the district-wide immigration training session for staff and families 5 weeks ago. So as anticipated, and as we all know, the sensitive locations MOU has been rescinded. We've not yet seen the large-scale immigration raids that the Trump administration has promised, not because the administration lacks the will, but because they lack the manpower and the funding. And so I expect that the federal government will target sanctuary states next. This is something that you need to be aware of as a board. So they will be working to reverse state laws that prevent local police from acting as immigration agents. I also expect an attempt to overturn Plyer versus Doe, the Supreme Court ruling that gives undocumented children the constitutional right to attend public school. So this is why our resolution tonight must be bold, it must be specific, it must explicitly state that no government agency acting on behalf of DHS, including local police or IRS agents, as he's now threatening, can gain access to an individual without a judicial warrant for that specific person. And so the courage that you showed here tonight in your opening comments, the courage that you are showing here right now in this discussion that will follow our public comments, it matters so much to so many of us. We're watching this administration dismantle federal institutions and test our constitutional rights in real time. The next attacks, as my colleague said previously, will be on LGBTQ+ children and staff and children with disabilities and other vulnerable groups. And this is why I also really urge you to strengthen and explicitly include protections for these groups in your Safe and Welcoming Schools resolutions. And research shows that resolutions are not just symbolic gestures. I know people oftentimes make this mistake in saying that the kinds of resolutions that you're making tonight are merely symbolic, but they're not. Strong resolutions are actually dynamic in institutions. They shape and reinforce norms. They shape social interactions and behaviors. They determine whether people feel a sense of safety and belonging or exclusion and fear. And so I'm profoundly grateful to you for FSD that you have risen to meet this moment, a moment in which some students, some families and staff feel scared and singled out. Many, including our elected leaders at the state and federal levels, are wondering if it's safer to just remain silent, to fly under the radar. But silence is complicity. We must act now to defend our children, our staff, and our community. And I appreciate you so much for doing this. So tonight and in the weeks ahead, you are going to be...
You can finish.
What do you think?
Finish. It's her choice. You may finish.
I may finish?
Yes.
Thank you, President Berryman. So tonight and in the weeks ahead, you are the beacon of hope for those who are being told...
Especially if we're beacons.
You are the beacon of hope for those who are being told that they do not belong here. You're leading the way for other school districts. Other school districts are looking to FSD right now. I recently received an email from a very prominent public figure that said, FSD is the gold standard in leading the way for all of our children. You're leading the way for other school districts. You're providing support for our elected leaders when they go to that congressional floor to say that our children matter. You're proving that there is another path, a path rooted in love, a path rooted in dignity, a path rooted in community. So thank you for your bravery. We always tell our kids to be brave. We always tell our kids to be courageous. They are watching you tonight, and I am so appreciative that you are setting this example for our children, for our community, and for our leaders across this nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And last but not least, rock star Bethany Anderson.
Bethany, I'm going to out you on something. I heard that you also play soccer, and I heard you're pretty good at it.
Well, I'll take that. Thank you.
Very competitive.
Yeah. I'm very hot, but I'm wearing my jacket because I may or may not have a huge bruise on my arm from my last game. So, okay. My name is Bethany Anderson. I am a mom to 3 Raymond raccoons, a 2nd, 4th, and 6th grader. I'm also the director of Camino Immigration Services, and I've worked alongside the immigrant community for the last 20 years. This is a rare season where my work overlaps with my family life, as I believe strongly that my children should be a part of a school community that is inclusive, welcoming, and does the hard work to ensure all of our students have access to a high-quality education, regardless of immigration status, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, or ability. I support this resolution wholeheartedly because not only does it send a message to the families and students on the margin that they belong here, it also pushes our district and schools and staff to do the absolute most they possibly can to not just make our families feel safe, but ensure that they are safe. As I've been attending various district events and meetings at our Fullerton schools over the last month, helping to ensure that all of our families have the resources and the information that they need. And as I have also been working to organize a group of moms and a couple dads, mostly moms, who are committed to being allies to our comadres, the immigrant moms in our community. I can personally attest to the unity on this issue. The silver lining in the chaos our current president is causing is that the outcome in our city is a vibrant and diverse group of parents and families who are showing each other and the community that we have each other's back. Regardless of what happens, this reality in our city and our district is only going to be strengthened in the months and years to come. Thank you to our board trustees for being leaders, not only in our city, but our state and country. And I have never been more proud to be a Mapache mom and an FSD parent. So thank you so much.
Thank you all for your comments. For those of you that's our first time being here, good job. On that note, Dr. Hammett, you want to present, talk about kind of how we're going to go through this.
So with the agenda was posted a draft resolution, and that draft resolution has been reviewed by District Legal Counsel, and some additional recommendations have been made for some additional language. Anna is putting the changes that we're recommending onto the screen. You will see that anything that is bold and underlined is a recommended add to the existing resolution that was on the board agenda, and anything that has a strike through it and that is in red is being recommended to be removed from the resolution. So at this point, we have a few options. We could allow the board to comment on what's there. I could also read through the agenda for purposes of the public, or through the resolution for purposes of the public. If you'd like that the resolution be read in total, to hear the resolution from beginning to end with the revisions, I'll leave that up to the board's discretion, and then there's time for you to look at the proposed deletions and changes and make comments as board members as to what you would like to see in this resolution.
I would like to propose that we, as a board, I want to make sure that our entire board has opportunity to comment on this. I know that we have in the past always gone through each whereas and resolve. Because it's been revised a few times, I think I would like to make sure our entire board has a chance to do that. I'd like to start, if it's okay with the rest of my board, with each one of the board members maybe making a statement about the resolution in general, maybe sharing your comments and anything you might have towards the entire resolution and the comment if you haven't already made them. And then once we've gone through that, then maybe taking, going through it each one for transparency purposes. And so as we're going through it, each resolve or each whereas, making sure that our board doesn't have any changes in each whereas as we go through that. If they have changes, do them each one is at a time. Would that sound okay with everybody? I mean, and there might be some in there where you don't have any changes or no words. I mean, everything's good. But I want to make sure that we all have an opportunity to read it and to make any kind of comments. Does that sound like it'll work? Consensus? Yes. All right. Then, does that sound okay with you, Dr. Hammett? Does that
Absolutely,
sound
yes.
okay? All right. So we can start with just each trustee as general. Any comments about the resolution as a whole? You want to start? We can start with James.
No comments other than the ones I've already made at the opening. I thank our counsel here, Mary, for your advice in making sure that we are doing a substantive move here that is legally sound. So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, definitely appreciate our staff's support in this and legal counsel. I think we talked about we want to make sure that we are complying with California law, and being residents in California, we have a lot on our side that is really supporting not only protecting our kids from immigration enforcement in a school context, but really just preventing any form of discrimination against our children, no matter what their identity or group they might come from. So I'm really proud of the fact that we have that on our side, and we are simply upholding a lot of these existing policies and laws that we have. But I think what became important for us to have this conversation. You know, in December, in January, when people said, "Are you going to do a resolution?" we thought, well, we've got the policies, we've got them. But seeing the change in our climate, and especially the dissolution of the MOU with ICE, there is real concern from our community, and so this is a response to that. And I think one of the things that we worked on in revising this policy in just the last couple of weeks, it went from something that was just about immigration to really expanding it to ensure that all of our kids that we are explicitly calling out that this includes LGBTQ kids. This includes kids who have disabilities and are on IEPs. That there's nothing about our children that will prevent us from both protecting them, caring for them, and educating them as they deserve to be. And so that's the majority of the changes that you see in this resolution are about expanding this so that we know and our community knows we are committed to this work no matter what changes come our way. And we will adapt as they come, but this is our commitment and our line in the sand.
Thank you. Yes.
So as Ruthie said, and as we've heard many of you, and as I said in my very opening statement, I feel like a school board's job is to be the ear and voice of our community, and we heard you. We heard you loud and clear, and we want to make sure that we are following California law because we are protected here. And as I personally said when somebody asked in the January meeting, what is the board gonna do? And I said, well, you know, we're protected. We have the MOU. When that went out the window, we said we were gonna do something. I said I was gonna do something. And I'm so blessed and so thankful of our board and everything that we were able to do and everything that we were able to edit and change to be able to create this draft, because it was very important not only that we follow the law, but that we take care of all of our children, every single one of them, regardless of immigration status, regardless of their culture, their sex. We want to protect every single child in our district, and I think it's very important, and you're going to see that it shows here. So thank you to our board. Thank you for listening to our families and our community. And as I said before, we are here for you. We work for our kids and for our community and for our families. And I feel very happy and very blessed that we have a great attorney that was able to guide us and make sure that we have policy and all the right wording to make sure that we, again, are following the law and we are being inclusive, because, again, that is the theme here and that is our goal. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is very well written. I'm a big fan of well-written documents, so thank you. It's elegant, it's clear, and I think that the important takeaway is that this is a response. Mm-hmm. This is how we have to protect our children and our students, because they're being threatened by this current administration. So it's very well written, and I'm very appreciative, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. I echo what our other board members have said, and I think that for those of you that have seen me or been around, I normally don't love resolutions. I do know we have policy, and policy is there for a reason, and it's consistent, and we can get into the weeds with policies and regulations. And I've always thought that was enough, but in this instance, it's not enough. Right? We need to make sure that our community and our students and our children know that we're here for them. And so for me, this is a big thing to really work on a resolution that means something, that gives our commitment to the rest of our community, to show them that there is the support. So I do agree with everybody else here, and I think that this is a time where it is definitely needed. So. And it has kind of taken a different wave. So as we look through it, what you'll see up on the board is going to be different from what was on our agenda. So just to make sure that we're being very transparent in going through this. and excuse us, because again, I'm just going to remind you guys, this is the only time as a board we can talk about this, right? We haven't been able to look at this together at all. So this is our time to run things past each other and to maybe wordsmith something. So bear with us as we kind of go through this process. So on that note, we can begin?
And so I'll start at the very top of the resolution.
Because we have a change there.
And we have a change to the title. The title is now Resolution for the Fullerton School District Board of Education affirming the Fullerton School District's commitment to safe and welcoming schools with the addition of for all.
And is everybody okay on that? Okay, great. Moving
Right.
along.
First paragraph, few changes here. Whereas the Fullerton School District wholeheartedly embraces its commitment to safe, stable, nurturing, and welcoming environments that celebrate and honor the diversity of experiences, that's an addition, rich language, and cultural assets of all students, families, and staff of our district.
I had one general question. When we talk about cultural assets, I know what that means, but we're writing a resolution for our community, and I look at things as things are education-ese and things are, and when we talk about cultural assets, could we say heritage or cultural heritage, or does that lose what you guys are doing? I don't want to have a resolution where people read it and have to kind of, well, what does that really mean? I mean, I don't know.
I think it's an opportunity for education, though, too, Bev. I hear what you're saying. You want to be inclusive in language choices, right? Working in the child development sphere for a number of years, we talk about positive assets as something that really is about valuing what kids especially bring to the table. And to me, it's a way of affirming that your cultural heritage is not just where you come from, but it's a strength that you bring. And I think it implies there's something very positive in that contribution.
There's more.
That that's why I think it's a good word choice here.
All right. I just wanted to. Okay.
And I think it's not. I think.
I'm okay. Yeah. No,
well,
we're good.
I would even say, like,
we're done.
If we could have the clause be, I think it's all assets, right? Like the experiences, the language, the culture.
I am not
all
arguing that at all.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing up
Yeah.
the point. Okay.
Yeah. But it's almost like we need a little
No, we don't.
Okay.
All of these. Okay, all right. So we're good with the first whereas with all of the red. Okay, perfect.
All right, and the next paragraph that was in the original document has actually been struck because it's moved to a later location further down in the document.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, the next whereas is added, and it's in red. It says, whereas California law requires school districts to create equitable learning environments where all students, including immigrant students, students with disabilities, and LGBTQIA+ students feel welcome, and requires school district staff to respect the rights of all students. And then there's Education Code Section 202, 220, 220.3, 220.5, 221.5, and Government Code Section 8310.3.
Comments on that one? Anybody?
This is something I did discuss with Mary today. Specifically, it answers some of the comments that we heard from the public about specific inclusion, especially around 220 and other recent California laws that have been passed to both respect the rights of LGBTQIA students and protect their privacy. And I think those ed codes describe a lot more that's required of our staff. And we didn't have to mention specifically these groups, but I think because of the current climate, as you said, this is as Aruni said, this is a response to what we're seeing right now. So to specifically mention them is to say, we are including all students. There's more in these ed codes that are included and more obligations on our part to respect and include and welcome them. But this specifically is speaking to the moment that we're in.
So just for reference and for future, because just as Ruthie said, we have education codes, we have constitution codes, that's where this wordage and this verbiage is coming from. We didn't feel like every single thing needed to be included, but because code is there, it is included in here. It's just not written in the policy or in the resolution because it would make it super long.
4 pages.
Yeah.
Consensus of our board with this one? Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, and the next paragraph is unchanged from the one that's in the resolution. I could read through it if the board would like, or
Do we think that's necessary? Do we have changes on this one? It was already in there. We had some time with this one already.
I mean, I would read it just for reference.
Read it.
whereas it is district policy to prohibit physical, verbal, nonverbal, or written conduct that results in unlawful discrimination, harassment, intimidation, bullying, and/or retaliation on the basis of actual or perceived race, color, ancestry, national origin, nationality, immigration status, ethnicity, ethnic group identification, age, religion, pregnancy, marital or parental status, physical or mental disability, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, or association with a person or group with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics.
Everybody good? Thumbs up? Okay.
Sorry, I also for translation purposes, because I think they're translations.
still
I just
we'll
feel
talk
like it would
slow.
be.
Okay, oh,
Yeah.
I think Chad's doing a good job.
más
You're
You're
right.
despacio.
You're great,
Speaking
Chad.
slowly, clearly.
Okay. The next whereas is an addition.
This is an addition, yes. Whereas the California State Constitution guarantees the inalienable right of all students and staff of public schools to attend campuses that are safe, secure, and peaceful. California Constitution, Article 1, Section 28, F1.
And it's great that we are referring to where we're getting it from, so that way, again, whereas is our usual factual paragraph, so being able to go right to where that comes from, make sure that we have the ability to back that. Anyone want to change anything with that one? No? Okay. Keep going.
This next one is actually the one that was up above with just a few changes to it, but it's essentially what was up above. Whereas the United States Supreme Court has ruled that no K-12 public school shall deny access to education for any student on the basis of immigration status, and the California State Constitution guarantees access to education as a fundamental right of all children who reside in California, without regard to immigration status.
Okay. Anybody? No? Okay. Continue on.
This next paragraph has a little bit of everything, a few strike-throughs and a few adds. Whereas state law prohibits immigration enforcement activities at schools, including but not limited to the release of student records, questioning students, and/or releasing students into the custody of immigration officers without parental consent or a valid court order or judicial warrant signed by a federal judge.
Okay. Anybody have anything for that?
I think our lawyer and I went back and forth on this because we know right now the guidance has to be signed by a federal judge. I guess my only question that was brought up by public comment would be if we need to specify it would any form of law enforcement acting as immigration enforcement, or is that going to get us in trouble if we try to be too specific? I guess I'm thinking if others forms of law enforcement, not federal law enforcement, immigration officers, but if others are acting on their behalf.
So if the law changes where now city police can come in or tax people could come in and act as immigration officers?
I mean, it's already said that DHS was going to be acting as ICE, and I think that was one of the questions that we had previously. And I know one of the Jody brought it up, in that we want to be very specific and including that. That was a question I had as well. Do we want to add that in there, or
Maybe, can you
what
make
does the
it
lawyer
federal,
say?
federal officers? Or,
I mean, the law is changing minute by minute and day by day. So do we want to be proactive, I think is what we're asking, and adding that in there
It would simply
as a
be
precaution, or do we?
Right now, I think that I concur with the board president's statement that the whereas clauses are factual statements of what is. And right now, this is what is. With respect to local law enforcement, the California Values Act prevents local law enforcement in California from acting as immigration officers. They are prohibited from doing that. And that has already been tested in the courts under the first Trump administration. And the Ninth Circuit ruled in favor of California that local officials cannot be commandeered by the federal government to enforce immigration laws or other federal policies. So they cannot be commandeered to do that, and current California law prohibits it. And so I think my preference is to let this stand as a statement of currently what is the law. And I think your intent is extremely clear, and your staff will implement both the letter and the intent of this board resolution. That's my recommendation.
I guess we can
because they
update
would
it
be, well,
if
and they
needed.
would be acting as immigration officers, so that would
Yes.
consider them into that if they were. Right. I think it covers it.
It does say immigration enforcement activity. So if we get to the point where DHS and local police are acting as
Immigration officers.
immigration enforcement, then it's
covers it.
already, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, we're good?
All right.
Yes.
The next whereas is struck through.
Okay.
All right. And then we have an addition. Whereas the California law prohibits school districts from collecting or maintaining documents that may be related to immigration status, including but not limited to passports, visas, and social security numbers from students or their family members. Ed Code Section 234.7.
Okay. Anybody on that one? No? Okay.
The next paragraph is also an addition. Whereas California law prohibits the district from making personal information from its databases available, including any databases maintained by private vendors contracting with the district, to anyone or any entity for the purpose of investigation or enforcement under any government program compiling a list, registry, or database of individuals based on religious belief, practice, or affiliation, or national origin or ethnicity for law enforcement or immigration purpose. Government Code Section 8310.3.
That addresses the fury of the lists. So, anybody there? Okay, great addition.
All right.
I'll just add that the intent there was especially to acknowledge that sometimes we do share data with federal and state and even partnership agencies, but in this case, the law protects us from having to share it in a way that it would be personally identifiable. So we might share the gender of our students.
The percentages of something rather
how many
than
boys,
one person to a name with
But
a
they're not
person.
going to be assigned to an individual where that could be used in any way to discriminate against them.
All right. In the next item, we have original language plus an addition. Whereas the Fullerton School District is committed to maintaining a safe and secure school environment in which disruptions to the instructional program or school environment, including but not limited to school visitors or outsiders, are minimized or eliminated, and finds that immigration enforcement activities in and around schools would be a severe disruption to the peaceful learning environment.
Anybody? Okay. All right, thank you. Keep going.
All right, now we're on to the now therefores. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fullerton School District Board of Education declares that every district site continues to remain a safe place for all students, families, and staff.
Good, okay.
Be it further resolved that the Fullerton School District will support all students, families, and staff by remaining a safe and welcoming place for all students, families, and staff, and ensuring all have access to high quality, well-rounded, rigorous, and joyful education.
I love joyful.
And
Okay. Anybody or still good? Okay.
welcoming all students, families, and staff, regardless of characteristics including actual or perceived race, color, ancestry, national origin, nationality, immigration status, ethnicity, ethnic group identification, age, religion, pregnancy, marital or parental status, physical or mental disability, sex, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, or gender expression, or association with a person or group with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics. And
We're missing a comma.
Yeah,
Between-
sexual orientation, gender, one.
No,
No,
there should
you're
be a
missing
comma there.
Sexual orientation,
Different
comma,
protected group.
gender.
then we need to fix it up top as well. Yep, okay. Added. Okay. Next bullet is providing resources, training, and support for district students, families, and staff on topics including the rights of students, relevant federal, state, and local policy, relevant district policies, protocols, and procedures, and promoting the physical, social, emotional, and mental health and well-being of impacted students, families, and staff. And
We're good? Okay, yes.
ensuring all sites are free from disruptions to instruction or the school environment, including but not limited to visitors and/or outsiders, and
Okay,
not releasing student records, allowing the questioning of students, and/or releasing students into the custody of law enforcement without parental consent, a valid court order, or judicial warrant signed by a federal judge, and
that hits the fact that there are some times when that happens.
President Berryman,
Yes.
Just to clarify with the council, this does not prevent child services or anything like that, correct? So we can still keep kids safe.
I think this was an oversight that should have been changed to immigration officers. I think that was the intent of this particular one. So instead of, I think the language that was up further dealt with, there's another one above. Let's see, that refer to, yes, the whereas,
Into the
that's on
whereas,
the
yeah.
top of the second page.
Yes, so we,
Releasing students into the custody of immigration officers, I think that should, the language should mirror that language that's in the whereas clause. That's a good catch, so thank you.
Okay, so we will be changing out the word law enforcement to immigration officers. Okay?
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Next bullet. Any such request will be immediately reported to the superintendent or designee, and a determination will be made regarding the request prior to release of any information, and the superintendent shall report any such requests to the Board of Trustees.
Okay.
And referring any families seeking assistance with questions related to their immigration status or students' rights to community-based or legal organizations.
Okay. All right.
Be it also resolved that the Fullerton School District Board of Education instructs district staff to provide copies of this resolution translated into all appropriate languages to all school sites, and ensure that the District English Language Advisory Committee, DLAC, School Site English Language Advisory Committees, ELACs, and other appropriate parent groups are informed and involved in ensuring that all students, families, and staff remain safe and welcomed in the Fullerton School District.
I like that change. Oh, but we have a comment.
Just one correction. It's the District English Learner Advisory Committee. Sorry, so just that typo.
Instead of language.
It's learner.
District English.
Learner.
Advisory Committee. That's the name of the committee?
The two whereases that reference California law, the word "the" before California in the first one is bothering me. Sorry.
Which bullet is that?
Whereas the California law prohibits.
Oh, got it. That's, yes.
Just California law? Oh,
Yeah.
take out the,
Yeah,
in the
whereas
whereases?
Yes.
The first of the two whereases there, yes, I see it.
Oh, yeah, there's two of them. Did you find both?
I have two, whereas California law prohibits school districts from collecting, and whereas California law prohibits the district from making personal information.
It's
Yes,
also
those
on
two.
the first
And the first page.
California State Constitution. It's the first read, whereas under second read,
Second read.
whereas
Second where?
California State
whereas.
Constitution.
Would it be appropriate in that case? Would it be whereas the California State Constitution, or would it be whereas California State Constitution?
I like the before the California State
So you like
Constitution.
that, you like the "the" there?
Yes.
Keep that "the" there. Take the "the" out of the other ones. The other thing that we'd like to bring up is the fact is we would add signature lines for every board member, as opposed to just having it signed by the clerk and the president. Because this is a collective board, and we want to make sure that all of us are represented there.
Right? I second
It's
that,
the right
Jody.
thing to do. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. We know how hard this was. And I think that we all think this is very, very important, obviously, for being up here. And we appreciate all the time and effort into this, but we now need to have a motion. So would somebody like to make a motion to?
I would love to make a motion. I want to make a motion to pass the Fullerton School District, Resolution Number 2425-15. The resolution for the Fullerton School District Board of Education reaffirming the Fullerton School District's commitment to safe and welcoming schools for all.
I would like to second that motion.
All right, so there's been a motion and a second to approve the resolution 2425-15 of the Fullerton School District Board of Education reaffirming the Fullerton School District's commitment to safe and welcoming schools for all. Anybody else have anything? Other than thank you all for putting the time and effort into this. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Thank you for bearing with us and going through that, because that's how we needed to make that happen. Okay, moving along now to C, which is authorizing a design, build, procurement, and construction of a Cal-shaped ventilation and plumbing project. Ooh, we go from, let's go for some plumbing.
Let's go for some plumbing.
Very important too. Everybody
Right.
uses a restroom.
As you recall, a few months back, we applied for Cal-shaped grant ventilation and plumbing. So we're now at the phase where we need to get the work done. And so, as you said, this resolution will enable the district to issue an RFP, RFQ to do procure, design, build contracts for this project. Doesn't mean we necessarily have to go with the lowest bidder, but it allows us to, what's going to give us the best value for the school district so we can move forward with these projects.
All right. Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 2425-14, authorizing design, build, procurement, and construction of the Cal-shaped ventilation and plumbing project pursuant to Ed Code Section 17250-10. Anybody, other questions? No? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. All right, moving on to D.
D, this is a revised board policy 5030 for student wellness, and normally we do a first and second read. This is a compliance piece, and so the language is in there. It's in order to be in compliant with state and federal requirements, and so we're asking the board to approve this policy. In the future, we can bring this policy back if we want to go into it much deeper, and I know we do, but there's kind of a time is of the essence for making sure that our policy is up to date.
So normally we would have a policy, a board policy brought to us as a board. They would introduce it at a board meeting. It would be a first read. We would provide comments. We'd come back at the next board meeting and then adopt it. But this one, because it's just compliance language.
There's really no input to give
Right,
on the
that,
compliance piece.
and it's something
legal
that we need to
language.
make sure is on the books, that we would like to get this done. And if we want to bring back the wellness policy at a later date, we can do that. So, is there a motion to approve this policy?
I will motion to approve it, but I also have some comments I wanted to make.
Okay, so why don't you make those comments now?
Okay. I just fully want to support the additions in order to both be in compliance and make sure we're following our guidelines. I just appreciated the opportunity to read through this policy again. I actually was on the wellness committee when I was a PTA leader and a mom before I joined I'm still a mom, but before, as a mother, as a parent representative, was on the council for a while. And I appreciate that we have this policy, that we work with our community partners to make it actionable. But I was reading through and looking at some of the content of this policy, which is really strong. And of course, one of the things I was paying attention to is the role and responsibility that we have as the school district in the way that we teach and support our kids with their nutrition. It got me kind of going down a rabbit hole of looking at obesity rates and nutrition, and I found that Fullerton actually is a little bit higher than the county average. According to the OC, let's see, had it written it down. Conditions on Children from Orange County in 2022 report, Fullerton fifth graders are at 22% obesity rates, which is a little bit higher, but poverty rates greatly affect access to healthy nutrition and exercise opportunities, where 1 in 4 economically disadvantaged students in Orange County are at risk of obesity. So I was thinking about this and the opportunity and the responsibility that we have as a district to really both help our kids meet their education goals of learning about nutrition as well as activity goals through our PE. And a couple of months ago in January asked if we could have a report as a board on physical education and our goals and curriculum in physical education, the outcomes we're seeing. And I realized that in our policy it says that we are supposed to receive that in May. So I'm hoping that we'll have a report.
That makes it easy, right?
Yeah. So our May board is supposed to meeting. We should be receiving a presentation and an annual report on the basic information about wellness and the progress of our schools, including at an individual school level. And I'm really interested to learn more about how our students are doing, how the intersection of poverty and access may impact their well-being and their health, and even things like how many minutes of physical activity they're getting in their PEs, as well as the curriculum and what they're learning in physical education classes, and how we are contributing to the wellness of our kids.
Thank you.
I want to make a quick little comment on that, because I think it's important that we're going to get those statistics, but also recognize our community schools, because through the community schools, we've been doing a lot of parent outreach, and we've been doing a lot of cooking classes and nutritional classes that I've not fully participated on, but I've attended some of them. And I think it's amazing and fantastic that our parents, we do have quite a few parents that are participating, so I can't wait to see those numbers.
Okay. So I forgot, did we have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any other comments about this? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 I do know that the Wellness Committee also, we have a new person, and they're going to be meeting in April, so, okay. E. Okay, E is the old A. Oh, it's the school board delegate assembly. This is kind of awkward.
You got this.
Just hate to say.
You have our full support.
Okay, so am I just gonna do this one?
I vote for Bev.
I second.
Hold on, let me find my paperwork.
We got a first and a second, and
So each year, every 2 years, California School Board, the California School Board Association has regions where delegates represent their area and meet and discuss legislation, platforms, and go through the business of CSBA. And so each year, every couple of years, they bring candidates to school boards so that you can vote to have individuals represent areas. And so we are voting on that right now. There are 7 openings for this area, this Orange County area, because of the last election. Many people got off of the board, didn't rerun or didn't go. So there are 7 open positions. There are 7 candidates that were sent to us. And then we had 3 write-in candidates. And the write-in candidates, I believe, were because the timing of this delegate assembly is right at the holidays. And so it was very hard for people to get their paperwork in and get it going. So I think that 3 of the 2 in which the write-in candidates are current delegates and just didn't get their paperwork in on time. So we have 7.
Bev, are you one of those candidates?
I am one of those
Oh,
candidates.
wow, an opportunity to represent our district, thanks.
And do we have to agree on all 7? Like, how does this work?
No, so what we have done in the past is each board member can say, oh, I would like to vote for so-and-so and so-and-so. And, you know, if you have some interest or you have an opinion about them, then you can recommend. And if there's more than what's on here, we would just vote for each one. If there's less than, you can always do it less than 7. You don't have to have 7. So what we've just done in the past is thrown out, oh, hey, I know this person, I feel comfortable with them. I know this person, or, you know, I'm recommending this person. So I'm just going to say, I would recommend Bev Berryman.
I would support that.
I'd support that too.
I'd also support, of course, Trustee Berryman, but our colleague, Trustee Klotzker.
Okay, so she would be a write-in.
Yes.
So we write in Lauren.
I would also like to support Jessica Guerrero.
Okay. I would like to support, someone else. Carrie Flanders. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 3 more we can.
I got 2 more names if you want here. I don't want to go one at a time. Okay, and then Rhodia Shed from Buena Park.
And Frances Nguyen was the other person on my list.
And she was the other write-in.
She's a write-in as well, yes.
Okay. So that's 7, right? Is that 7? 3, 4, 5, 6.
I got 1 more. Susie Swartz from Saddleback.
Yeah. Susie Schwartz from Saddleback.
Is that who was running, and then we had that special
Yes.
meeting,
Yeah.
and then she ended up winning after
Yeah.
all, right? Okay,
She's
yeah.
good. We selected her for the Orange County School Board.
The
representative.
Office on Redistricting
Yeah,
Committee. Yeah.
district
it.
lines and things like
Yeah.
that.
Great.
Okay, so that's 7. So that would be Bev Berryman, Jessica Guerrero, Rhodia, Susie Schwartz, Lauren write-in, Carrie write-in,
And Frances Nguyen.
and Francis write-in. 6, 7. That's 7. Okay. All those in favor of those candidates, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No?
I feel good about
Thank you,
those.
guys. That was easy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Bev.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up and representing us. It's
Thank
more
you.
work, and we appreciate that you are being our voice at that level and speaking out for kids especially.
It is very important. Very important to have our voice heard. All right. Are we at the end of our? Oh, no, we have our administrative report for our first, okay, again, so this is a first read on our commitment to safe and welcoming schools. So you'll make a presentation. We won't comment about it now. We'll go back through the process and then we bring it back.
Right, so this is a new board policy for the Fullerton School District. This would be Board Policy 5145.14, Commitment to Safe and Welcoming Schools. So you will find that this board policy contains a lot of detailed information regarding immigration and processes and procedures that would be taken at school sites and at the district level to protect students, protect student information, and what to do in the event that there is immigration enforcement attempts made at schools.
And, go ahead.
Can I make some suggestions?
Do you
Well,
want-
I actually think that, while I appreciate the efforts of our staff, and I think a lot of these details, it's very good for us to be aware of these things. A lot of them were copy and pasted out of our admin regulations. They're things we're already doing and are required by California Ed Code or law to comply with. And so I really think that, I don't know that this policy is necessary as a policy, board policy. I think that what I would spend our efforts on is reviewing the resolution that we just passed, seeing if there are necessary updates that flow out of that. For instance, I think that our existing board policy 514513, which is responding to immigration enforcement, we may want to beef it up and update it based on our new resolution that we just passed tonight. It could affect possibly, I don't know, like registration details of how we store documents, things like that. Those might be policies we want to look at with maybe our lawyer's support to say these are affected by that and we want to respond and make sure our policies are in line with this resolution that we've just passed. But I don't know that this specific policy that's been presented to us is necessary when pretty much all of the detail is within our admin board, admin regulations. And to me, it speaks at a level of specificity and detail that is not consistent with what board policies ought to do.
Because this, we already have 514513.
Yes.
We do, correct, which
Which
is
is
called
immigration
immigration enforcement.
And this is very narrow, focused on just response to immigration enforcement on school campuses.
That's what 13 is.
That's what this new policy is. Whereas the resolution we just passed is much broader. If we're going to call it safe and welcoming schools, I feel like it should either reflect our new resolution, or if we want to get more detailed on our immigration enforcement responses, we put that in the existing board policy on immigration enforcement.
So I know one of the things that I talked to Chad about was somehow if we were to pass this resolution, once it was edited, that we could find a way to use some of the same wordage to create a policy and add to the existing one that we have rather than create a whole new one.
But I wouldn't want it, if we're gonna do that, it shouldn't be to immigration, right? So the JAS 13 is only addressing immigration.
Correct.
We're talking about
Yes.
safe and welcoming schools for all.
Yes.
So I think our policy should be safe and welcoming schools for all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And incorporate everything.
Yeah, but the text of this right now
Right.
is very narrowly confined to just responding to immigration enforcement on school campuses,
So
pretty much.
if we
With
said,
deportation of students.
if we asked our staff to go back and take a look at what we did tonight and incorporate that and revise point 13 and not have a 14, would that make sense? And just have
Yes,
one
so-
policy that incorporates welcoming of all students? Is that what you're saying? So not have an immigration and a all.
So add some of the immigration verbiage to this because it is going to be a policy. That's why we were talking about adding some of this. Also including because
resolution.
the policy that we have up right now, it's not up there, but the policy that was created that we're talking about right now is a little redundant and it's very specific, like you just said. So if we were to use some of the resolution wording in addition to what we already have and then
Make it more broad.
make it broader, yeah. And then what we have
So
is already on
what
our
I feel like we have two different things. So I think maybe what I'm hearing is perhaps we revise some of the language around 5145.13, which is immigration enforcement, and strengthen that in regards to immigration. And then perhaps create a new policy, 5145.14, around safe and welcoming schools that addresses all groups.
We can't have it in one? Can't just have one policy?
We could rename the other policy and we could put it all in one policy, yes. We could do that as well. Do 54.
I don't know, what is,
right,
what's
and we-
easier, what works, because a policy is there, a board policy is there so that our district can do the business of the board. What is the easiest? I mean, what makes more sense and provides the district with more clarity to be able to make sure that we are protecting all students?
So my suggestion would be, first, let's go back to the immigration one. Let's strengthen that. Let's add that language. However, that was really intended to provide clarity and maybe some ease. If somebody was searching for this, it would make it would make that easy. I would recommend then either maybe looking at another part of our policy to add in language that maybe doesn't quite apply, or bringing back a new policy as maybe steps. How about we bring back the immigration one? Let's give us a little time to do a little homework to see maybe where we could fit some of the other language. But at our next meeting, let's bring back the immigration one and just, like I said, give us a little bit of time to check into where we could put the other language.
Because you might be able to incorporate it somewhere else.
We might, yes.
Correct. We'll just figure out where that
So we don't
best fits
necessarily need a whole new policy if in fact you can take some of that and put it into something.
and revise that existing
Okay.
policy.
Does that sound thumbs up for everybody?
I think
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Future member board, future items. Anybody has something here?
President Berman?
Yes.
I've had a chance to talk to Dr. Bob and the admin here about the bond and what we're going to do to ensure that we show our taxpayers that we're good faith stewards and that we're going to put the money to work. My request is that if you haven't already, to engage with FETA, CSBA, and some of the other organizations, because they might be getting information from some sources, some not at all, but to ensure that all of our partners understand what the plan is so that everyone's on the same page. That would be my request.
We will be finalizing with all of you, so we met with all of you, and so Rob's going to send out an email at the end of the week just to confirm kind of that initial list that you feel okay about it, and then and once kind of get some of your blessing, then we'll go to our different groups too and do some finalization.
All right. Thank you. Anybody down there?
We've already said, we want to bring back the immigration enforcement policy. I think if there's any others that in reviewing our resolution that seem like they need to be updated and affected, I would want to bring those out sequentially over the next couple months, make sure we're shored up, and also as the climate changes. I mean, I know California State Legislature is looking at different policies and possibilities to, that we would need to respond to, that we want to be paying attention to. And then I'm looking forward to, I think next month, a review of our Performance Academy as well. We had some information, but I'm looking forward to learning more about the program on that.
I think April.
April?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, okay.
I would ask, and I don't know if I bring it up to my colleagues, with all of the information coming from our federal government right now and the talk of dismantling our federal Department of Education and how that truly would affect us, I would love to see something from our board and from our district to our local area congresspeople and senators that represent us at the nation, asking that they protect our vulnerable children and advocate for them and advocate for the department and making sure that we're making our voices heard. So I would ask if everybody agreed to allow our district to come back with a letter that would go to our electeds to let them know how important this is for our board, and that we need them to be our voice. But that's that.
I like that. Thank you.
100%. I think that it could be something that comes from us, but I would really love to see other school boards sign on with us and have it be a collective action and strengthen numbers in that way.
Well, maybe that could be a delegate.
Yeah, your new job.
It's already putting me to work.
You're the perfect person.
At least we'll start it.
Yeah, we'll get it started.
All right. Anybody else, anything?
Would it be helpful for us to submit ideas, drafts, thoughts of what that might, like what would be included in that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably
Big picture.
utilize the resolution that
Yeah.
you just adopted as
Absolutely.
definitely a basis.
But speaking specifically to the importance of the Department of Ed and the symbolic nature it has on support for public education as well.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I do.
It's not 10.
I do want to think about. We heard a lot of comments from our community, especially of parents of special education students, and in the break we were kind of saying, well, what? I would love to hear a little bit more. Maybe it's a communique, but what avenues there might be for possibly helping support a parent group that could be that advisory group, as they spoke about. Obviously, we have different groups, and some are mandated, and some are supported more with our school time and money and staff, and some are more kind of like independent groups like PTA, but that we integrate with on purpose. So I wondered what it might look like for us to support a parent group that could be representative of the voices of our students with special education.
We can bring back some ideas.
Okay, thank you.
Can I communicate? Okay, all right. All right. Seeing no other, our next meeting is March 11th. So I will adjourn our meeting until our next meeting on March 11th.